This page is the front cover of a magazine featuring The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and F-Zero X prominently, showcasing Link riding Epona. It highlights a special Konami feature and a telephone card present. The cover also mentions a centerfold strategy guide and lists some newly featured games which include Beat'em 64, Airborder 64, Desaimon 3D, Bakushu Jinsei 64, Mezase, Resort OU, and Extreme G. Other games referenced are 1080 Snowboarding and GameCube Powerful Pro Yaku 5. The magazine issue is dated May 1998 and comes with a special Kirby Seal appendix. This page is an advertisement for 3 games. The main focus is on the Nintendo 64 game 64 Uzumo, a sumo wrestling title that is bundled with a controller pack and is priced at 7,980 yen. There are also 2 Game Boy games advertised below, Pocket Bass Fishing and Trump Collection GB, both priced at 3,980 yen. Each Game Boy game has a small screenshot showing gameplay. This magazine's contents page features diverse sections covering various gaming topics. The Game News page previews N64 titles like F-Zero X and The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, along with a list of other games. The GB and SFC information section focuses on Super Famicom and Game Boy titles. Tactics and capture information highlights games like Extreme G. The information and news page provides N64 Q&A and news. Serial Project showcases Pokemon Paradise and other series. 64Dream Club discusses N64 topics. The serial manga section presents Zelda Road and other manga series. Other sections include 64Dream Ranking, Software Catalog, a Release Calendar, and a Present section. The page also includes staff and publication details. This gaming magazine's N64 release calendar forecasts upcoming software, acknowledging potential Nintendo schedule shifts, including delays of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and F-Zero X. The calendar, utilizing symbols for release status, lists games from March through the following autumn. March includes Killer Instinct Gold, various Japanese titles, and Space Dynamite. April features FIFA, Road to World Cup 98, Zelda, and Banjo-Kazooie. May lists F-Zero X, while June includes Pokemon Stadium. July is packed with Ultra Baseball, several Mario Artist titles, and Extreme G. Autumn anticipates Pokemon Snap, Pilot Wing 64, and anticipated titles like Donkey Kong 64, as Ultra Donkey Kong, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. September 8th is marked for Super Smash Bros. And Mario Party. The undecided category includes Body Harvest, Mario Golf, Hey You, Pikachu, and Castlevania 64, among other titles. The calendar provides a detailed, yet tentative, look at the N64's upcoming games. The N64 Dream Ranking features 2 lists. The Reader's Choice highlights anticipated titles, with The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time topping the list, followed by GameCube Powerful Pro Baseball 5 and Mother 3. Other highly anticipated games include Pokemon Stadium, Paper Mario, and Super Mario 642. The second list, the top 10 selling N64 software, February 8th to March 7th, 1998, is led by 1080 Degrees Snowboarding, followed by Yoshi's Story and Nagano Winter Olympics 98. The text emphasizes Nintendo's dominance in reader anticipation, with 14 titles in the top 20. The ranking also highlights rising popularity for Konami's baseball game and Hudson's Bomberman Hero, with hopes for more third-party support. This page from 64Dream magazine presents reader survey data and prize information. It highlights the popularity of Reader Presents and analyses applicant and winner demographics by prefecture, noting Osaka as the current top region for both. The page also features a top 30 ranking of hobbies other than video games, listing activities like reading, music, fishing, soccer, and drawing. Crucially, it details the winning odds for various prizes offered in a reader giveaway. The top prize was a super rare Game Boy Pearl Blue set. Among the Nintendo 64 prizes listed are games like Yoshi's Story and Hexen. There are also Japan-exclusive N64 titles mentioned, such as Denryu Ira Ira Boo, Electric Dragon Irritation Stick, likely a unique action or puzzle game, and Shin Nippon Pro Wrestling Tukan Road Brave Spirits, a professional wrestling title. Interestingly, a SNES game, Super Bomberman, is also listed as a prize. Other prizes include accessories and merchandise like badges, clothing, and even a Mario-themed present box. The page provides basic advice for increasing winning chances in these giveaways. emphasizing correct information on entry forms. Finally, it includes brief, humorous reader comments relating to hobbies, providing a glimpse into the readership's interests. This page is an advert for the game F-Zero X, featuring the game logo prominently at the top. The artwork showcases a group of characters surrounding the game title in Japanese, which translates to Zero's excitement. On the right side, there are blue boxes with yellow text outlining game details, including the publisher as Nintendo, a release date in June, a price of 6,800 yen, a memory capacity of 128 M, the genre as racing, and player numbers from 1 to 4, with controller pack support. The next page showcases the game F-Zero X, featuring characters Captain Falcon, Pico, Jody Summer, Dr. Stewart, Samurai Goro, and M.M. Gazelle. Their signature machines are also displayed and named as Blue Falcon, Wild Goose, White Cat, Golden Fox, Fire Stingray, and Red Gazelle. The text on the page sets the tone, suggesting that exceeding limits in this game leads to an incredible and exhilarating experience, referred to as X's pleasure. This page is all about F-Zero X, featuring Captain Falcon and his machine, the Blue Falcon. The page is introducing the game as a high-speed racing game, highlighting that it's a machine introduction for main characters. It mentions that players can customize their machines to their liking. The Blue Falcon's stats are shown, with grip rated as A and body and boost both rated as C. The screenshot shows gameplay on the track White Land 2 in practice normal mode, with Captain Falcon in the lead. The text at the bottom boasts, "If there is anyone faster than me." It is emphasizing the speed and customizability of the machines in F-Zero X. This page is all about F-Zero X, highlighting the importance of machine settings to determine the outcome of races right from the start. It explains that choosing settings that prioritize acceleration will improve your initial dash but might compromise top speed, especially on courses with many corners. The page showcases 5 different machines: Wild Goose driven by Pico, White Cat piloted by Jody Summer, Golden Fox with Dr. Stewart, Fire Stingray used by Samurai Goro, and Red Gazelle with M.M. Gazelle. Each machine's profile displays its weight, acceleration, and top speed indicators, along with ratings for body, boost, and grip. The text advises players to consider machine weight and course characteristics when selecting settings, suggesting experimentation to find personal preferences. It concludes by mentioning that character and machine changes aren't possible, recommending starting with default settings and adjusting from there to discover the ideal setup for each player. The next page features F-Zero X, showcasing the White Land 2 course. The page highlights the incredible speed of the game, boasting over the 1,000 km/h, and emphasizing the speed aspect. You can see a screenshot of the high-speed futuristic racing action, along with a cool robotic racing machine called M.M. Gazelle. Jody Summer, a popular pilot from the game, is also featured with a quote saying, "Men are faster? Ha, don't make me laugh," showing her confidence. The page also provides a description of the White Land 2 course, explaining it's a half-pipe style track where technique is crucial, as falling off the pipe leads to a straight drop. It ends by asking about the maximum speed achievable in the game, pointing to the speedometer in the screenshot. This page is dedicated to the futuristic racing game F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64. It showcases gameplay through several screenshots displaying different race positions and high-speed action. 2 characters are highlighted: Octoman, who is presented with a large character artwork, and Antonio Guster, who is also shown with an illustration and a quote in Japanese that translates to, "Revenge, revenge, I'm not something lukewarm." The screenshots emphasize the speed of the game, showing gameplay elements like track design, player positions, and speed readouts in km/h. This page features the game Overcourse Sector Alpha. The text describes it as a roll-action game that defies gravity with loop courses. It mentions that players will experience a course unlike any seen before in racing games, emphasizing speed and G-force. The game screen shows a practice normal mode on Sector Alpha, with a car moving at 38 km/h. 2 characters are also featured: Mr. EAD and BABA. The text at the bottom mentions, "In space, there are all sorts of guys, right? Well, we're all the same." This page is all about FZEROX. We can see multiple in-game screenshots that highlight the intense and varied track designs, including vertical climbs, looping sections, and courses that twist and turn. The page also features character art, prominently displaying Pico and Dr. Stewart. Dr. Stewart is quoted as saying he wants people to see his racing as art, something that cannot be imitated because of its beauty. The text boxes describe the game's challenging courses, mentioning the tension of racing, needing to keep your eyes on the loops, and how disorienting some track layouts can be, making it hard to know where you are. It also highlights that boosters become available from the second lap and that there are dash zones on the tracks. This page is about the highly anticipated game, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It's described as being a month away from release and explores the quiet period just before launch, questioning if spring will truly bring the game. The page details the game's specifications. Published by Nintendo, slated for release in late April, a 3D action-adventure genre, priced at 6,800 yen, using 256 MB of memory, for one player, compatible with the Rumble Pack, but controller pack support is undecided. The article discusses the eagerness of fans and the feeling of just having to wait for the game's completion, despite the silence around its development. Screenshots showcase gameplay scenes of Link and Epona in different lighting conditions, emphasizing the game's atmosphere and visual appeal. This page is about the development journey of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It details the game's long and winding road to release, starting from its announcement at Space World 95 in November 1995, where Miyamoto revealed the game for the 64DD and N64. The timeline continues through 1996 and 1997, mentioning key milestones such as video appearances at Space World 96, initial screen reveals, the announcement of both cartridge and 64DD versions, multiple delays in release dates, and public showings of gameplay elements like dungeons and horse riding. The page emphasizes the player anticipation and patience for Nintendo games due to the quality expected, referencing Miyamoto's involvement and the development team's dedication to creating compelling gameplay experiences. The timeline ends in March 1998, 1 month before the eventual release of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Link's Dream, beginning prologue story disclosure, details the opening of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The story begins in Hyrule, where various races protect their lands. Link, a Kokiri boy, awakens from a dream where a girl flees a castle pursued by a terrifying man. He's then greeted by Navi, a fairy, who leads him to the great Deku Tree. The Deku Tree is dying, infested by monsters, and tasks Link with entering its interior dungeon. Despite defeating the monsters, the Deku Tree succumbs to his injuries. Before dying, he reveals that Ganondorf seeks the Triforce and charges Link with finding someone wise in Hyrule and obtaining a spiritual stone. The article promises more details on page 20, including specifics about the Deku Tree's dungeon. This page is about the start of Link's adventure in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It highlights Link's journey to Hyrule Castle, driven by the legend of the Triforce and Ganondorf's evil intentions. We learn that Link is from Kokiri Forest and is tasked with finding the Triforce to stop Ganondorf. After reaching Hyrule Castle, Link meets Princess Zelda, who reveals the kingdom's crisis and the importance of the spiritual stones. Ancient texts detail the path to a sealed door, requiring the 3 spiritual stones of forest, fire, and water to open. Having obtained the forest spiritual stone, Link is now heading towards Death Mountain to find the second one. The editorial section suggests that the publicly revealed story so far is just the beginning of Ocarina of Time. The real adventure begins after collecting all 3 spiritual stones and using the Ocarina of Time. The page also showcases screenshots from early parts of the game, including Hyrule Castletown, Death Mountain with Lizalfos enemies, Zora's Domain, and Link playing the ocarina. Finally, there's a focus on Ganondorf's imposing presence, comparing his large size to Link and teasing his powerful attacks, hinting at the challenges ahead. This page highlights the initial dungeon of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, set inside the Great Deku Tree, the guardian deity of the Kokiri Forest. The dungeon is a circular, 2-story structure. The objective is to defeat the monsters within. As it's the first dungeon, Link's starting weapons are limited, including the slingshot, Deku Nuts, and Deku Stick. The page explains the Deku Nuts are thrown at enemies, and the Deku Sticks are like firecrackers. It also hints at the boss being Goma. Monster descriptions are given for Deku Baba, a mane-eating plant, and Deku Scrub, a forest sprite-type enemy that hides in grass and attacks with Deku Nuts, They are described as cowardly. Defeating Deku Babas can yield Deku Nuts, or Deku Sticks. This page delves into the mystery of treasure chest contents in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It discusses how Link discovers treasure chests deep within the Deku Tree dungeon, guarded by Deku Babas. The article mentions a scene from Space World, where treasure chests were opened in a movie demo. It highlights the suspenseful animation of Link opening chests and extracting items. The page then transitions to this month's Adult Link vs Stalchula, focusing on screenshots featuring Adult Link battling a Stalchula. It notes that most recently revealed screenshots have focused on Child Link, so this section is for Adult Link fans. The article describes the Stalchula battle in a dark atmosphere and mentions the enemy waits on the ceiling for Link. It also questions why Navi is absent in the screenshots, considering she's usually Link's companion. The page also suggests that magic might be exclusive to Adult Link. Finally, the page humorously guesses at potential items from treasure chests, listing Boomerang with a 50% probability, Bomb at 20%, and jokingly, Horse with a 200% probability, implying a horse is an absurd treasure. The page ends teasing, next month continued. This page is about Banjo-Kazooie, introducing a first look at the desert stage. The article mentions it's a cute Sphinx stage and feels a bit like Shifting Sandland from Mario 64, but this time you can control both Banjo and Kazooie together. It highlights the desert setting with pyramids and a large-scale desert stage. The game is a 3D action title, set to be released in April for 6,800 yen, and is for one player. It's also mentioned that animals in the desert are camels, and you might ride them. Kazooie is usually on Banjo's back, but swaps to flying in the sky. The article also points out that the Sphinx has a dog-like face. This page introduces the character Mumbo Jumbo from Banjo-Kazooie. The article highlights that despite his skull-like appearance, he is actually a friend. Mumbo Jumbo can use magic to transform Banjo into other forms, which is essential for progressing through the game, as some puzzle pieces can only be collected in specific forms. The page also shows different comical enemies in the Banjo-Kazooie world. It points out that while some enemies look intimidating, like the hermit crabs wearing sunglasses or the large sharks in the water, it's hard to tell if they are friend or foe at first glance. The article mentions encountering a giant crab on the coast that seems strong due to its shell and pincers, and questions how to defeat it. It also mentions that some enemies can't be defeated by simply attacking them head-on, suggesting players need to use their wits and think strategically, like flipping over enemies, for example. There's a mention of a shark called Oira, indicating that not all sharks are necessarily enemies, and some might be friendly. This page is all about Bomberman Hero. It's presented as new arrival information and encourages readers not to miss the hero. The page previews cool transformation scenes and new action sequences of Bomberman, showing off two bosses from the Wilder Empire. It highlights that Bomberman and the 4 power gears combine to transform, enabling various actions. The screenshots showcase Bomberman in action, with different power-ups and transformations, including scenes from Bombase and Bomberman piloting different vehicles. The text also mentions that by giving Bomberman instructions, he will move automatically in Automove. It emphasizes that this game is all about Bomberman becoming a hero, saving the Bomberman Star Cluster and Princess Million from the Wilder Empire. The release date for the game is listed as April 30th. The genre is action. The price is 6,800 yen, and it's a one-player game with 96 megabytes of storage. Vibration Pack is supported, but Controller Pack is not. This page introduces Louie as Bomberman's newest and cutest ally, highlighting how Louie can be ridden to enhance Bomberman's abilities, especially jump height, making it easier to navigate levels. There are also sections detailing new action elements, like the soap bubble action where Bomberman floats through the air, a thrilling Devil Coaster stage filled with traps, and mirror rooms where players need to use reflections to navigate tricky sections, adding unique gameplay challenges. The screenshots show gameplay from what looks like Bomberman 64, featuring these new gameplay elements. This page introduces Stage 1, Scorching Hell Canadia Star, from Bomberman 64. It's described as the third planet Bomberman visits after Prime Star, a scorching hot planet where Bomberman's stamina constantly depletes. To survive, players must utilize cooling towers along the way. The stage is also said to feature a challenging Devil Coaster and maze-like dungeons. The page details 3 areas within Canadia Star. Area 1, Lavana Volcano, Area 2 Death Pyramid, and Area 3 Canadia Shrine, listing sub-areas within each. The boss of this stage is Bolban, described as one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Waldos Empire, and resembling a sphinx. Bolban is said to test travelers with riddles, and devour those who fail. The page warns players to be wary of Bolban's petrification beam, and describes his attacks, including launching large bombs from his shoulders, and a petrifying beam from his mouth. It suggests that Bolban's body is surrounded by a white light, which could be a barrier. This page introduces the ice planet Mazone from Bomberman 64, the second stage highlighted in this feature. It details Mazone's star as the 4th planet in the Bomberman Nebula, a cold world of snow and ice, but with areas of green jungle inhabited by Louis. The stage is described as slippery ice. The page breaks down Mazone's star into 3 areas: Louis Jungle, Monsnow Mountain Range, and Mazone Dome, listing the substages within each area. Screenshots showcase gameplay in snowy landscapes, featuring the Bomberman character navigating icy platforms and collecting items. One screenshot shows an indoor section with a checkered floor. The page also introduces the boss character for this stage, a female cat-like creature named Nichea, who is described as skilled in transformation, especially into a cat. The text warns players not to be deceived by Nichea, who can transform into Million and steal discs, potentially leading to Bagular's revival. Gameplay tips advise players to watch out for items, be careful in valleys, and utilize trampoline-like jumps in the Zero-G room. The final screenshots show Nichea and her pet Megani, emphasizing that Megani attacks with mirrors and should be defeated first in the boss fight against Nichea. The text concludes by saying, "Now it's a one-on-one battle. Let's have a time attack showdown." The next page is about the N64 game Baku Blast, Bidamen Bakugaiden V, a title that remained exclusive to Japan. This preview highlights it as a thrilling shooting action game coming to the N64. It emphasizes the intense beat'em battles in fully rendered 3D fields, letting players experience the thrill of controlling their beat'em. The page details 2 main game modes: a battle mode allowing up to 4 players to compete, and a beat'em item mode. Screenshots showcase the gameplay and some of the characters, including Tamago, Gamma, Sarah, and Ijuin Atsumasa. The text suggests the game will appeal to both fans of the Koro Koro comic manga series and shooting game enthusiasts, promising exciting and engaging gameplay. The game is described as being developed by Hudson Soft, with a summer '98 release window, categorized as an action game, and supporting 14 players. The next page introduces 10 competitive skills for the B-Damon game. The first competition is called Dinosaur Ball Throwing Battle, where players in B-Damon mode shoot marbles into the mouths of dinosaurs in a Jurassic Park-like setting to score points. The tip is to use power shots effectively. Screenshots show gameplay with characters Tamago and Gamma competing in this mode. The second competition is Trolley Shooting, a fast-paced mode where players ride trolleys in a mineshaft and shoot targets to gain points. This mode emphasizes quick reflexes and accurate shooting. Again, screenshots show Tamago and Gamma playing, highlighting the competitive gameplay. The page also features Seibu Maruma, a skilled B-Damon player known as Sniper Gamma, who is known for his rapid and precise shots using his Wild Wyvern B-Damon. Another character highlighted is Sarah, an Arabian prince and B-Damon master called Magician, who utilizes various shots with his Stag Sphinx B-Damon. This game is likely B-Damon Fire Blast, known in Japan as Bakukyu Renpatsu, Super B-Damon Gekitotsu, B-Damon Fight. This page introduces Airborder 64 as a super-evolved sports game set in the futuristic year of 2064. This game features air skateboards and aims to crown the master of airborder. The article mentions that airboarding has become a popular sport worldwide, with major competitions taking place in cities around the globe, attracting professional airboarders and huge crowds. The game information boxes highlight that it's a sports genre game from Human, released on March 27th. Priced at 7,980 yen, requiring 64 MB of memory, supporting 1 to 2 players, and compatible with both Rumble Pack and Controller Pack. The screenshots showcase in-game action with speedometers and gameplay on futuristic tracks. This page is a guide on how to play Airborder 64, known internationally as Snowboard Kids. It explains that the game is an evolution of skate and snowboarding. The page details the game controls using a Nintendo 64 controller diagram. The R button is for viewpoint change, the L button for map display, the D-pad for camera type change and rotation, the Z trigger for acceleration, the 3D stick for steering, the A button for jump, the B button for turbo, and the C buttons for performing tricks. The guide also explains the different stances available in the game: regular and goofy-footed, and normal and fakie stances. Finally, it describes how to perform tricks by using the C buttons in combination with other inputs. This page introduces the 4 playable characters in Airborder 64. The characters are ALF, who is 17 years old and skilled in all techniques with a regular stance; BOBBY, who is 13 years old and a beginner-friendly character with a regular stance; CHRIS, who is 17 years old and the only goofy stance character who enjoys artistic tricks; and Dave, who is 19 years old and known for dynamic tricks with a regular stance. The page also describes 7 game modes available in Airborder 64. These modes include Street Work, where players navigate check gates within a time limit while performing tricks for points; COIN mode, where players collect scattered coins; versus RACE mode for 2 players to compete to be the fastest through check gates; Lecture mode, which is a tutorial to learn the game controls; Time Attack mode to race through check gates as fast as possible; FRERUN mode for free skating; and versus COIN mode for 2 players to compete to collect the most coins. This page explains different types of tricks in a skateboarding-style game. It details categories like on-road tricks performed on flat surfaces, air tricks done in the air, lip tricks on ramps, drum can tricks using course obstacles, pole tricks around poles, grind tricks on handrails, tunnel tricks within tunnels, and combos, linking tricks together for higher scores. The page also highlights useful techniques such as rocket starts, quick recovery from falls, using turbo during tricks, attacking opponents in competition, and a super secret technique involving using a fallen opponent as a board. This page is a preview of the N64 game creation tool called Desigmon 3D. It highlights that this is the first in the series to allow users to create 3D polygon shooting games. The screenshots showcase the game's interface, demonstrating tools for model creation and in-game level design, featuring example models like Sushi. It emphasizes that players can easily create their own shooting games on the N64 at home, even without advanced development equipment. The game is published by Athena and is slated for release in spring of 1998. It is categorized as etc. genre, price is yet to be decided, and supports 1 player. This page is titled, First, Let's Play with the Sample Game in Desigmon. It introduces the concept of using the Desigmon software to create games, highlighting that learning by doing is key, especially in game development. The page showcases a sample game called Solid Gear, emphasizing its quality and fun factor. It encourages users to try making their own games with Desigmon. Screenshots of Solid Gear are featured, showing it's a space combat game with elements like cockpit views, enemy lock-on targeting, explosions, and laser fire. The page stresses that Solid Gear is created using Desigmon 3D, demonstrating the software's capabilities and inspiring users to create similar games. Finally, the page transitions into explaining the texture creation process using Desigmon's graphic tools. It describes the tools available, such as lines, circles, pens, and spray paint, along with a color picker, to design textures for polygon models. Screenshots illustrate the graphic tool interface and its features for creating artwork within Desigmon. This page is about creating your own game levels and 3D characters within an N64 game, using what appears to be in-game editing tools. The first part discusses map creation, explaining how to use a build tool to set up characters, backgrounds, and the overall layout of your game world. You can customize elements like player shots, bombs, and even enemy characters, with a funny example using a ramen bowl as an enemy. The second part focuses on creating 3D polygon characters, suggesting you can edit pre-made sample models and create your own unique characters. It also mentions vibration pack support, meaning you can add rumble feedback to your creations when events like explosions or getting hit happen. The goal is to empower players to design and personalize their own N64 gaming experiences, much like game creation tools that were available on consoles like the Desigmon series in Japan, letting players become game creators themselves. This page showcases the original polygon model feature of a game, guiding players on creating their own characters. The steps outline using sample models as a base to customize and build original creations, with screenshots depicting the process. It highlights features like camera position, switching to view models from different angles, and BGM composition, emphasizing the ability to create original music within the game. A tutorial function is also mentioned for ease of learning. The game being featured appears to be Design 3D, a title where players can design their own games. Finally, the page gives an example of a user-created game called Natto Shooting, showing the creative possibilities within the game. This page is advertising the N64 game Bakushu Jinsei Gikiju 64, which can be understood as Hilarious Life Theater 64, the latest in the popular Life series from Taito. It's described as a board game where players experience the ups and downs of life on a map, with dice rolls determining their progress. The page highlights that it's the newest entry in the series, and coming to N64, appealing to fans of previous Famicom and Super Famicom Life games. The article also provides a brief history of the Life series, listing previous titles released on Famicom and Super Famicom, such as Bakushu Jinsei Gikiju and Super Bakushu Jinsei Gikiju games. Screenshots show in-game scenes and characters. It mentions it was scheduled for release in autumn of 1998, with player count of 1 to 4. This page is about the N64 game Design 2, released only in Japan, described as Hilarious Life. The goal is to become the resort king, aiming to amass wealth by managing resort businesses. The gameplay revolves around a map with squares, where players roll dice to move their car-shaped characters. You buy land, build facilities like hotels and shops, and try to earn money to win. The game has 7 map types in total, including hidden ones. Up to 15 computer-controlled characters can compete against players. The page shows screenshots of the map interface and gameplay, explaining that your character moves on the map based on the dice roll. It encourages players to shake the dice well to get good numbers, even though it's mentioned as baseless advice from the editor. The next page is a gameplay guide for a property acquisition board game on the N64. It explains how to buy land when you land on a property space, allowing you to build facilities such as hotels and shops. The guide advises players to strategically buy adjacent plots of land to maximize their holdings. It also describes negotiating with other players if you land on their property. Screenshots show the process of building and naming hotels. The ultimate aim is to make money by charging rival players to stay at your hotels and then reinvesting those profits into stocks. This page from a gaming magazine, titled Game Progression Tips 6. How to Earn More Money, focuses on strategies to get richer in a resort management simulation game. Yes. It highlights 3 methods: capital increase, which involves adding optional facilities like pools or annexes to the hotel to raise accommodation fees for guests; tenant entry, where shops can be brought into the hotel to receive a percentage of their sales as rent; and expanding the entrance, which increases the probability of attracting customers, requiring more land space. The page continues with Section 7, Event, Fun Event, discussing the exciting events in the game. It emphasizes the fun of board game-style events in this title, showcasing screenshots of various events like parades, festivals, and special menus at restaurants, under the title, Various Events. The page suggests that numerous engaging events are a core part of the game's appeal, hinting at a rich and varied gameplay experience. The final image at the bottom depicts a character in a space setting, questioning, "Truth will be revealed someday," possibly hinting at a storyline or deeper aspects within the game's events or progression. This page is a preview for the N64 game Choro Q64, known as Penny Racers internationally. The page highlights the game's part system, explaining how to obtain car parts by winning races and then use them to customize and enhance your vehicle. Screenshots show racing gameplay, including different cars and track environments, as well as menus for part selection and combination. The article indicates the game is scheduled for release in July, is a racing genre game, and supports 1 to 4 players. It seems to be emphasizing the depth of car customization options within the game. This document details various power-ups for a racing game, likely a Choro Q title. The items include the landmine, smokescreen, spin, rocket dash for speed boosts, octopus leg coin attracts other cars, invincible coin, cannon fires projectiles, and missile, powerful weapon. The game appears to be focused on strategic item use to gain an advantage. Additionally, there's an interview with Mr. Morioka from Takara, discussing the upcoming Choro Q64 for the N64. He mentions the game's development progress, referencing Choro Q3 on PlayStation, and expressing anticipation for showcasing Choro Q64 at the Tokyo Game Show. He eagerly anticipates players racing with the series' distinctive cars again. This page is a preview for the game Extreme G, a supersonic battle race game where you challenge the limits of speed. It highlights that the game has already been released overseas and is highly rated in various countries, set to arrive in Japan. The tagline emphasizes experiencing gravity and the thrill of speed. The page mentions the publisher as Acclaim Japan, with a release date scheduled for the summer of 1998. The genre is listed as racing, and the player count is 1 to 16 players, with 4 simultaneous players possible. The screenshots show futuristic motorcycles racing on tracks, with loop-de-loops at high speed, displaying speedometers and lap information, suggesting intense, fast-paced gameplay. Extreme G for the N64 is a futuristic racing game featuring high-speed bike battles in diverse environments. Players race through cityscapes, forests, and space tunnels, utilizing turbo boosts and missiles to gain an edge. Up to 4 players can compete in split-screen mode. The game offers several modes, including the Extreme Championship, Practice, and Time Attack. A multiplayer cup and a battle mode for up to 16 players are also available. Inspired by Akira bikes, the game's design emphasizes a unique aesthetic. The game will be playable at the Tokyo Game Show at the Acclaim Japan booth. The article concludes by urging players to experience the exhilarating speed firsthand. The next page is an interview with Laurent Sommier of Taito, France, discussing the game Super Speed Race 64, known internationally as Lamborghini Diablo Challenge. The page details the performance specifications of the Lamborghini Diablo VT featured in the game, including its top speed, acceleration, and engine stats. Release information for the game is listed, revealing Taito as the publisher, a release date of May 29th, the racing genre, an estimated price of 6,800 yen, support for 1 to 4 players, vibration pack, and controller pack. In the interview, Samir explains that Taito is currently focusing on developing games for Nintendo platforms, especially the N64, and has previously created well-known titles like Crazy Cars, Blues Brothers, and Prehistoric Man. He mentions Super Speed Race 64 has already been released in Europe and America, with great success. Samir describes his role as coordinating with partner companies in Japan, and notes the competitive Japanese games market between N64 and Sony, but highlights the strong sales of N64. His favorite games are Super Speed Race 64 itself and Mario Kart 64. The page also features the Taito Fox mascot, stating that this character is a symbol of Taito and appears in Super Speed Race 64. Samir discusses the development of Lamborghini Super Speed Challenge, Super Speed Race 64, developed by Titus in collaboration with Nintendo. The game aimed to be a dream car experience, featuring Lamborghini vehicles and realistic physics, including a detailed damage system and strategic pit stops. The development team worked closely with Lamborghini in Italy, receiving technical data and driver feedback. The Japanese version included more difficulty levels and course variations, appealing to a broader audience. Titus is also working on Superman 64, a Superman action-adventure title, and Quest, an animation movie-based RPG. Lamborghini Super Speed Challenge will have a competition in France, offering a ride in a real Lamborghini. Similar plans for Japan are under consideration. The page includes screenshots of Lamborghini Super Speed Challenge and a 3D chess game featuring Superman characters. This page is dedicated to the N64 game Bakukyu Renpatsu, Super Bidaemon, a puzzle game from Konami released on March 26th, playable by 14 players. The page highlights it as a super absorbing puzzle game. It describes the game as a bowling-like experience called Korogashi Tama, where up to 4 players can enjoy throwing magical balls. The text mentions it's a relaxing game to play when your head is tired from puzzle games, and encourages players to try different things. The page introduces 10 characters and their Kugeki Tama patterns, showcasing each character with a portrait and diagrams of their ball patterns, labeled as rolling ball and replace ball. Characters featured include Makarin, Ubata, Sawada Mayu, Atabu, Shin with Crystal Might, Ryu, Cherry, Doki Doki Vanilla, Dr. Dopply, and Sei. The next page introduces strategies for the puzzle game Puzzle Bobble 64. highlighting that despite the simple premise of matching 3 bubbles, the game has depth. It explains basic stacking techniques to build chains and character-specific strategies to counter opponents, focusing on the attack bubbles each character uses. The page also details how to utilize the swap bubbles feature effectively to create chain reactions, and emphasizes the importance of understanding opponents' attack patterns for successful versus play. The guide illustrates both vertical and horizontal stacking methods, and points out that in gamer mode against the CPU, matches become large chain reaction battles. This page presents a detailed command guide for the N64 3D fighting game Space Dynamites, released only in Japan. It describes the game's core mechanics, emphasizing sword-based vertical and horizontal attacks, and combos up to 9 hits. It highlights super combos that can be easily executed by pressing A/B buttons when the power gauge is full, potentially leading to a comeback. The page showcases 3 characters: Aaron Marbrick, a well-rounded fighter with projectile and close combat moves; Gore, a powerful character focused on heavy damage; and Morphix, who uses body transformations like leg cutters for unique attacks. The Use Character section provides a list of special moves with corresponding button commands. Game details in the top right corner reveal a release date of March 27th, a price of 6,800 yen, 64 megabytes capacity, 12 players, and no controller pack compatibility within the 3D fighting genre. This page showcases character move lists and gameplay details for the Nintendo 64 fighting game, Weapon Lord, known in Japan as Suku Ken Geki 2, Weapon Lord. First up is Scarlet, a swordswoman specializing in orthodox sword techniques, whose super combo, Dokken, is highlighted for its destructive power. Her move list includes names like Frumeng, Dulcelos, and Blessa, with a screenshot demonstrating her in action. Next is Eve, described as a fencer with a sword dance style, emphasizing speed. Her moves, such as Anti-Dreadlass, Exasis Nuncis, and Phantom Drop, are listed, accompanied by a gameplay screenshot. Zemuran is presented as a character whose combos culminate in powerful throws, making throws his finishing move specialty. Moves like Wrathful Sword Throw, Resentment Throw, and Skywolf Cry are mentioned in his list, with a screenshot showing a fight scene. Sonork, identified as a mid-boss type character, is noted for his long-range drill crash and projectile attacks, giving him an advantageous fighting style. His move list features names like Hyper-Low Shot Combo, Middle/Low Kick, and Drill Crash, alongside a gameplay image. Demonica uses claws instead of swords, focusing on power and speed. Moves such as Basilissa, Actocradia, and Vast Torlk are listed, with a screenshot demonstrating his gameplay. Lastly, Nikki, wielding Farah Roland rings, is a speed and technique-based fighter. Her moves, including Soltare, Divertird, and Regatia, are presented, along with a screenshot depicting her fighting. This page is a guide for the first stage of Sonic Wings Assault, known internationally as Sonic Wings 3. It's titled Tokyo, and the article provides a thorough walkthrough to conquering this initial stage. The game is described as a 3D shooting game. The article includes a message from Mr. Maeda of Video System, the developer, expressing gratitude for the help with the strategy guide and encouraging players to participate in the Tokyo Game Show 98 Spring event, where a Sonic Wings Assault high-score competition is taking place. The winner of the competition will receive an American fighter jet experience and a 4-night, 6-day New York sightseeing tour. The guide then details the enemies appearing in the Tokyo stage, highlighting the Rafale C-01 as a formidable aircraft, and the Su-25 fighters, which are numerous. The AH-1 helicopters are mentioned as being defended by the boss, and the boss itself is Super X, which is described as heavily armored and a tough opponent. The mission objectives are to defend Shinjuku Metropolitan Government Building for 15 minutes from enemy attacks, or to defeat the boss, Super X. Either way will result in mission completion. Game information is also listed in a blue box mentioning Publisher, Video System, Release Date, On Sale Now, Genre, 3D Shooting, Price, 6,980 yen, Memory, 64 M, Players, 12, Vibration Pack, Compatible, Controller Pack, Incompatible. This page is a strategy guide focused on achieving a high score in what appears to be Aero Fighter's Assault, known as Sonic Wings Assault in Japan. The guide provides tips for battling various enemies. Point 1. Details fighting the Su-25, advising players to use a 3-fighter formation to defend the capital city without taking damage for a bonus. Point 2 discusses the RAFALE-CO1, a strong golden squadron leader protecting a boss, suggesting players target its rear. Point 3 focuses on helicopters like Chinook and AH-1, instructing players to eliminate all of them before the boss fight to earn a bonus, recommending homing missiles from a safe distance, and mentioning the A-10 as a playable aircraft. Finally, Step 4 reveals the boss, Super X, has a weakness, its underside. It advises attacking from below at low speed, then using afterburner to escape, and notes that while initially heavily armored, the upper hatch will open, creating an opportunity for a powerful attack. This page is all about the exciting new communication cartridge for Morita Shogi 64 on the N64, promising heated online battles. It's highlighted as the first communication cartridge for the system, allowing players to enjoy online matches. The game itself is praised as having the strong AI that the Morita Shogi series is known for, capable of challenging even seasoned shogi players. Screenshots showcase the gameplay, and the page details the game's genre as table shogi, its price at 9,800 yen, memory size of 64 MB, and support for 12 players, as well as controller and communication cartridge. The advertisement emphasizes that with this cartridge, enjoying online shogi matches on your N64 is easy and accessible, even from home, removing the need for expensive computer setups for online play. It also shows images of the cartridge itself, both exterior and interior circuit board, with a warning not to disassemble it yourself to avoid damage. The next page explains how to easily connect to online services for shogi, using Morita Shogi 64 on the N64. It highlights how simple the connection process is, just plugging in the phone line, even for people not familiar with machines. The page details 3 communication services. The first is communication matchmaking, allowing players across Japan to play shogi against each other, with rankings based on match results, offering a virtual shogi dojo. The second service is a bulletin board, where users can exchange information, read shogi news, participate in free talk, and find the latest hot topics related to shogi. The third is guidance matchmaking, a service where professional shogi players, including famous figures like Tadashi Kanemaru and Toshiyuki Moriuchi, provide guidance. This service even offers official rank certification through communication. It also clarifies the service fees, stating that using these communication services requires a service fee. There's an initial 1,500 yen registration fee for first-time members, and then service usage fees of 10 yen per minute, which can total around 800 yen when combined with phone charges for a 60-minute session. Finally, it talks about the Japan Shogi Network, providing these communication battle services, emphasizing the depth of playing against human opponents, something Morita Shogi 64 on the N64 excels at, offering an enjoyable and engaging experience beyond just playing against the computer. This page features Super Robot Spirits, a 3D fighting game from Banpresto, released in spring 1998, priced at 7,800 yen. It supports 1 to 2 players. The page highlights the game's theme song, Song of the Soul, Want, which was used in the TV commercial. It features lyrics for the song, and credits the composition to Watanabe Akira, and lyrics to Nakanoshima. The vocalists for the song, Ichiro Mizuki and Hironobu Kageyama, both provide messages to fans, expressing their happiness that their songs are still enjoyed and their dedication to game music. There is also a section about a single CD release of Song of the Soul, coupled with Mazen Kaiser's Ballad, available for 1,020 yen. Finally, there is a bonus information section, mentioning that more spirits-related information will be in the magazine, along with a chance to win autographed color paper and CDs from Mizuki and Kageyama. This page is showcasing the game One Guy Monster, a monster breeding simulation title from bottom up. The page reveals that the Your Monster Idea Monster contest from the previous month received over 200 submissions, and thanks readers for their contributions. 6 monsters currently in development are introduced. Sasurai, a mysterious swordsman. Hachikuma, a bee-bear monster that attacks in swarms. Zoo, a friendly elephant that can be ridden. Potechi, a potato-shaped character who is central to the game and has strong attacks. Kaba, a hippo-like monster with powerful body attacks. And Yorozuya, a helpful character who seems to appear throughout the game and assist players. The magazine is still accepting monster submissions for the Your Monster Idea Monster contest, requesting readers to send in their monster ideas with names, types, and characteristics to the editorial department. An example of a submitted monster design named Kappa Valus, a ground beast armored dragon type, is also shown. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy game Navy Blue 98. It highlights the game as a naval battle game where players command fleets with the latest weaponry. The ad emphasizes features like strategic fleet organization and tactical combat against enemy fleets. It also mentions a communication cable function for multiplayer battles. The game is priced at 3,980 yen and is on sale today. This page is from the OBENRI Tengoku 64 letters section of the magazine, addressing reader questions and submissions. One reader asks about sending fan letters to game developers, and is advised to use the magazine's Dream Impressions section, which developers are known to read, or to try official fan clubs. The game Ogre Battle and 64 Release software are mentioned in this context. Another reader asks about the release timing of N64 Spring games like Zelda and Pokemon, acknowledging delays and highlighting the upcoming Power Pro 5 and F-Zero X, but mentions a Rumble Pack issue potentially. A humorous anecdote is shared about a Konami employee and a marriage proposal related to a Konami Plantation professional system. Another question is about getting better at action games, with advice to practice, relax, and avoid frustration. There is also a mention of anime karaoke and being impressed by the visuals of Paul no Miracle Dai Sakusen. Finally, the page showcases reader illustrations with names like Kato Mihiro, Nakagawa Katsuyuki, Yokomoto Tomoki, Wataru Deputy Editor, and Fukumochi, and also includes an editorial department bulletin section. This page is dedicated to fan clubs for various game franchises, showcasing enthusiastic messages from players. The Fire Emblem FC section starts by mentioning that they previously requested FE essays and have received submissions from fans. It notes the lack of new information about Fire Emblem and expresses frustration about Nintendo's tight control over information, alongside the continued delay of Zelda. The Zelda FC section discusses the release date delay shock for the latest Zelda game and how it's impacting player anticipation, referencing the anticipated game The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The Luigi FC section focuses on the Brothers Counterattack theme, likely referring to Luigi's role and popularity, referencing characters or stories related to brothers, and mentions something called Blood of Naoyuki Sugiru. The Bomberman FC section highlights the increasing influence of a fan named Yoshiki-kun, and hints at new Bomberman works expected in the spring season. Finally, the Josette FC section acknowledges the growing number of fan postcards, but indicates it's still not quite enough, encouraging more fans to send in their support. Each section includes a small table showing the number of postcards received recently, and the total count as of March 31st, reflecting fan engagement for each game franchise. The Analog Chat 64 inches section is concluding, with its editor hospitalized. Staff members share updates. Editor Sao is concerned about training a new recruit. Kikubu has been transferred for excessive PC gaming. Massey collects model cars and Pokemon. Kei Sasaki plays great strategy. Macher considers buying a PC for adult games. Andore won a dinner prize. Chizuru is returning to work, and Andu bought cheap software. A Bistro de Loft segment offers 551 Horai pork bun cooking instructions. On Wataru's weak points, humorously highlights Wataru's messy desk. Aries. Game Dream Unbeliever staff express regrets and discuss personal reflections. Editor's afterthoughts acknowledges Analog's end and hints at a possible renewal. A recruitment box seeks reader input for future content, suggesting a revamp. This page is from the Fukumochi's Rokuyan Detective Agency advice column. It features readers' questions and Fukumochi's responses. One section, Text Game Spring, discusses Fukumochi's discovery of the game Free Cell, which they consider a good and quickly completable game. Reader questions include dealing with frustration in games by suggesting switching to easier games, overcoming game burnout by taking breaks and finding other hobbies, and a sibling singing Pokemon songs too loudly, for which Fukumochi suggests a taste of their own medicine by singing loudly back. Other questions cover pets reacting to game sounds, confusing survey text which is dismissed as a mistake, insomnia from counting Pokemon instead of sheep, aromatherapy is suggested, friends losing common ground due to different gaming interests, and saving pocket money for Pokemon merchandise with feng shui advice for good luck with finances. This page showcases reader submissions for the Pocket Camera feature in a section called Pokekami City, highlighting its popularity. The page presents different categories of submissions. Comedy Pokekame Dojo featuring humorous images, Pretty Pet Shop for pet-themed photos, 4-panel manga special school which displays 4-panel comics, and Artists Cafe showing artistic creations. A section titled Pokekami Phenomenon Center is for those who don't own the pocket camera, possibly showcasing what can be achieved with it, alongside a Pokekami back workshop hinting at hidden features. The page concludes with application instructions for submissions and contact details. This page celebrates the 64Dream Team's victory in a GASP tournament, likely referring to the fighting game GASP Fighters NEX Traj, released internationally as Deadly Arts. It mentions that if the 64Dream Team had lost, they would have had to pay for dinner at a high-end restaurant. The page features comments from the club leader who notes the large number of team members and the difficulty in selecting participants. A club member comments on their participation in the Iron Fist 3 Tekken 3 tournament at the Tokyo Game Show and their ambition to become the strongest martial artist. The page also includes a character move list for GASP Fighters NEX Traj, showcasing moves for characters like Tsutomu Himuro and Azami Carol-Lin, with button input combinations for various attack types such as standard attacks, special moves, and throws. The move list provides attack names like Ice Room Thrust, Thunderblade Foot, Swirling Tornado Strike, Rising Middle Hold, and Continuous Fist Rock Fall. This page is showing character move lists for the N64 fighting game Kakuto Denshu F-Cup Maniacs, which was only released in Japan. It details moves and button combinations for 6 characters: Sakaimine Yuma, Tobisa Serena, Kiryuin Miyake, Killer Kongo, Yayagashi Kaoru, and Kanoji Kyoya. Each character section includes a small image and a table outlining various fighting techniques and their corresponding button inputs. The small text boxes beside each character's name provide brief gameplay tips or character descriptions. This page features 2 announcements from the Omayori Tengoku 64 section. The first announcement is for the Super Robot Spirits Research Institute, a new section opening for a limited 3-month period starting next month. They are recruiting researchers who are passionate about super robots, with the main theme being Memory Nonsense Robo, encouraging readers to share their childhood passion for super robots. The second announcement is for the Success Consultation Room, to commemorate the release of Power Pro 5. This section is for players to send in their questions and experiences with the Success mode in Power Pro 5. They are looking for feedback on how to improve in the game and are accepting various consultations related to the game's characters and scenarios in Success mode. Readers are encouraged to send in postcards with their submissions to the provided address before the monthly deadline. The next page is a strategy guide focused on 2 games. The top portion covers 1080 degrees 1080 snowboarding, highlighting course strategies for Dragon Cave Deadly Fall in a section titled Course Strategy Rear Edition. Game details mention it's published by Nintendo, currently on sale for 6,800 yen, requires 128 MB of memory with backup, is a sports genre game for 12 players, and is compatible with the Vibration Pack. Below this, there is also a strategy guide for JIKU Powerful Pro Yaku 5, specifically focusing on middle binding strategy, and indicates more information can be found from page 74 onwards. The page features artwork and in-game screenshots related to both games. This page focuses on Course 5, Dragon Cave, likely from the game Snowboard Kids 2. It's a course guide, breaking down the track into sections from start, S, to goal, G, marked A to G, providing tips for each segment. Section A, Shaped Steep Slope, advises players to ride the curve ahead to the left. Section B highlights the speed during the drop being very fast, recommending players shift their weight to land properly. Section C points out that bodies may float due to the steep slope and advises caution due to instability. Section D mentions the need to release the Z trigger for sharp curves and to avoid edges as much as possible. Section E indicates a hanging bridge visible on the screen's right. It warns that players cannot go into the tunnel from under the cliff. Section F talks about jumping from the left side between signboards. Incorrect positioning will lead to missed landings. Section G is about the initial hanging bridge, noting its narrowness and the difficulty in adjusting to avoid collisions. The editorial department recommended routes section suggests first jumping off the cliff, but cautions that damage will be significant if landing is not perfect. It also advises going straight on the left side, noting sharp curves near the tunnel area, requiring caution. This guide describes a level in a snowboarding game with multiple branching paths. Section B, Branch Point, features a split after a slope and bridge, leading to 4 possible routes. The leftmost path uniquely leads to a cave. Section C, Ice Burn Gentle Slope, follows, with an icy area requiring speed and careful navigation around small steps. The guide recommends staying left to minimize speed loss. Section D, Gentle Slope Before the Goal, presents the final area after a second suspension bridge and 2 monitors. Players can choose to go right or left of a hut, or even through it. A jump ramp on the left offers a shortcut, but is riskier. The right path provides a safer shortcut, while going through the hut allows for trick performance. The goal is visible after the jump ramp. Staying left through the ice burn and rocky areas is again recommended for speed. This page is a strategy guide for Course 6, Deadly Fall, from the N64 snowboarding game 1080 Degrees Snowboarding. It highlights key sections of the course to help players improve their run. Section A, Branch 1, advises players to be careful of the bumps right at the start and to pay attention to the branching path ahead, as the course changes significantly from this point. Section B, New Snow Ice Burn Pipe, details the course transition into an ice halfpipe after a snowy area and mentions the increased damage from falls in the pipe. Section C, Central Breakthrough Continuous Jump, focuses on a jump platform located in the middle of the course after point A. It suggests using this jump platform for consecutive big jumps and to land safely, noting that this is likely the shortest route if you are confident. Finally, the editor's recommended route suggests taking Route C, emphasizing the importance of using the jump platforms to successfully navigate this section of the course. This snowboarding guide details strategies for various course sections. Section D, Giant Bumps, emphasizes maintaining speed through a bumpy area leading to a sharp curve, and sections E and F. Section E, Steep Slope Slalom, requires jumping to avoid rocks and using weight shifting for control. Section F, Back Narrow Path, features a narrow path and sharp left turns, difficult to enter directly from Section D. Section G, Branch Point 2, offers a 3-way split, with recommendations depending on the entry point, FE, and slope assessment. Section H, Gate Before Goal, focuses on a jump before the goal, advising an angled approach from G and early handling to avoid rocks and land cleanly. This page is showcasing the N64 game Snowboard Kids. It highlights the characters made of crystal and metal as opponents in the game, alongside a panda character who also snowboards. The text mentions the final stage of the expert mode in Match Race, called Deadly Fall, and hints at other hidden snowboarders to discover. The page suggests checking out page 130 of the magazine for more information in the Dotech Palace section. The screenshots depict gameplay with these unique characters and environments. This page is advertising a Dream Upper Snowboarding Competition Grand Tournament for a snowboarding game. The competition features 3 event types: Time Attack, Trick Attack, and Contest modes, all set on the Crystal Lake course. The page details how to enter by sending a postcard, including specific information required, like the mode played, score, character used, console, address, name, age, and phone number. Prizes include trophies and medals for the winners. The deadline for entry is the end of March. This page showcases the game GameCube Powerful Pro Yaku 5, which is Power Pros 5 in English, for the Nintendo 64. It features the cute, stylized baseball player character typical of the series, ready to catch a ball. The page highlights key details, such as it being published by Konami, released on March 26th, priced at 7,800 yen, and requiring 128 MB of storage. It's a sports genre game for 1 to 2 players and is compatible with the controller pack. The page also includes the phrases "catch" and "let's play baseball." This page is an advert for the baseball game Power Pros 5. It features cartoon characters and screenshots from the game. The page points out the different modes available, such as Scenario Mode, where you can play through famous baseball scenes, and Success Mode, where you experience 3 years of high school baseball. It also mentions player data and emphasizes the fun of playing Power Pros 5. The next page introduces a Power Pros baseball game for the N64, showcasing its impressive 10 game modes. These include the classic Versus, Pennant, League, and Success modes, alongside new additions like Scenario and Arrange modes. Saving your progress can be done on both the cartridge and controller pack. A significant new feature is the inclusion of injuries in the Pennant mode, which adds a new level of strategy and realism. The game also boasts up-to-date player rosters for the current season, specifically mentioning rookie players for the Giants team. This page is really emphasizing the depth and enhanced features of this Power Pros baseball title. Scenario mode offers 12 baseball game challenges. Each scenario places the player in a crucial moment of a game, requiring them to achieve victory. These scenarios span various stadiums and involve different teams, innings, scores, and game states, such as bases loaded or specific numbers of outs. For example, Scenario 1 puts the player as Yakult in the 8th inning, tied 11-11, while Scenario 2 has the player as Yokohama in the 9th inning, trailing 2-1 with bases loaded. The difficulty varies, offering a range of engaging and strategic gameplay experiences, with the common thread being high-pressure situations. This text previews 6 Japanese professional baseball teams featured in an N64 baseball game: Yakult Swallows, Yokohama Bay Stars, Hiroshima Toyo Carp, Yomiuri Giants, Hanshin Tigers, and Chunichi Dragons. Each preview includes a game screenshot and analyzes the team's strengths and weaknesses, focusing on their potential for the upcoming season. The Yakult Swallows emphasize defensive baseball, while the Bay Stars highlight their offense. Hiroshima aims for the championship with a balanced team. The Yomiuri Giants are confident, relying on strong hitting and pitching. The Hanshin Tigers hope to revive their team with new players, while the Chunichi Dragons focus on their new generation and defensive strength. This N64 baseball game previews 6 Japanese professional teams. The Seibu Lions, known for speed and strong base running, boast ace pitchers and stable batting. The Oryx Blue Wave, led by Ichiro, face questions about future key players. The Kintetsu Buffaloes struggle with dome defense and batting power, their outfield defense causing concern. The Nippon Ham Fighters rely on foreign player power, but miss key departures. The Fukuoka Daiei Hawks, despite Okubo's absence, hope Lopez will provide offensive strength, with strong pitching a key. Finally, the Chiba Lot Marines are excited about Franco's return, hoping for a successful season with a healthy pitching staff. The next page is a beginner's guide for the success mode in a high school baseball game. It's all about surviving your first year and getting your player in shape. First up, decide your position and name, get that sorted. Then, the key is to build up your player's toughness stat to avoid injuries. Running and stretching are the way to go for that. As a first year, basic training like chores and running are vital for your body, mind, and teamwork skills area. Interestingly, they even suggest studying as a recovery method that boosts your grades too, which is important as failing exams can stop you from practicing. And don't forget about your teammates. Keep them happy because team relationships affect things like becoming captain and getting into team events. This page is focused on training in a baseball game, likely from the Power Pros series, which was released internationally. It explains training menus for both fielders and pitchers. For fielders, the training menus include fielder, miscellaneous, running, push-ups, sit-ups, swinging practice, knocking, sprint, and stretch, positive thinking. For pitchers, the training menus include pitcher, long throw, pitching practice, and breaking ball. The page emphasizes that consistent training and leveling up through events are crucial for player development and gaining better evaluation. It also highlights that for second-year players, it is important to focus on training to improve skills and get scout attention, especially to perform well in practice matches and tournaments leading up to Koshien, the National High School Baseball Championship. The screenshots show in-game scenes and training menus, demonstrating the game's training aspects. The next page delves into the details of the success mode in a baseball game, focusing on your third year in high school. Becoming captain is highlighted as a key mission, occurring in the autumn of your second year. As captain, you're responsible for the entire team's development, giving commands during games and leading the team strategically. The gameplay section emphasizes that, as captain, you manage all aspects of the game, from team management to playing the matches directly. This includes directing players and making key decisions during the 7-inning games, which are crucial for victory and team progression. The page also discusses the importance of the draft in the autumn of your third year, deciding if you'll go pro. It indicates that failure to be drafted within the top 6 in the draft means you won't become a professional player, making your 3 years of effort potentially unrewarded. Beyond just baseball, the game offers various events. Rival characters are mentioned, creating challenges and blocking your path, with numerous events associated with them. The page also touches on the concept of romance, with female characters, suggesting dating events as a fun element. Lastly, Dr. Daijobu is featured, indicating a character who helps enhance your player's abilities, adding a layer of progression and customization. The page concludes by mentioning the father character as a key figure to consult when facing difficulties in the game, hinting at a guidance or support system within the game. This page is part of the Death Immortal's N64 Classroom, Lesson 13, focusing on the topic of data compression. It explains what data compression is, why it's used, and how it relates to N64 ROM cartridges. The article uses a simple math example to illustrate the concept of compression, showing how repetitive data can be represented more efficiently. It also discusses the difference between reversible and irreversible compression, noting how irreversible compression is used for audio and video data, sometimes sacrificing quality for higher compression ratios. The article mentions that N64 uses data compression because ROM cartridges are small capacity and high cost media, making compression essential. There's a screenshot from an older KONAMI game, dated 1984, likely to illustrate a point in the article about data and game development. The screenshot is of an arcade-style game. A side column discusses the writer's personal interest in retro arcade games and the trend of retro gaming. Finally, there's a section encouraging readers to send in their N64-related questions to the question box. This page is from Game Street Journal and focuses on the Nagano Olympics boom in Japan. The reporter, Hiroko Nagami, living in Seattle, recounts a phone call where someone asked, "Did you watching Shimizu?" referring to a speed skater, and then clarified, "You miss Shimizu, who is a little big man." She humorously describes the Olympics as a big event and discusses how Japanese people are good at smiling and are very happy about the Nagano Olympics. The article mentions how people are asking about the opening and closing ceremonies and expressing opinions like too flashy, too cold, too noisy, and too conscious of tradition, with negative opinions being common. It notes that people are tired of hearing about feeling moved. The reporter also describes playing Hyper Olympic in Nagano 64, International Track and Field 2000, after the closing ceremony, trying to feel the excitement of ski jumping. The article mentions the announcer's pronunciation of Nagano and Hakuba being corrected. The reporter discusses cultural exchange and how foreigners are interested in Japanese culture, mentioning snow monkeys, Akita dogs, and even asking about Zen meditation, expressing that Japanese culture is not just cars and Nintendo, but also Pokemon. The page features a screenshot from Hyper Olympic in Nagano 64, showing a ski jump. This page is an advertisement for the Pocket Pikachu toy, a mini portable device with a Pikachu character. It highlights that this is a Kinin commemorative item from the editorial department. The Pocket Pikachu is described as a mini portable Pikachu with a pedometer function. As you walk, your friendship with Pikachu deepens. Pikachu displays various behaviors based on time and your friendship level. It mentions you can give watts to Pikachu, which you earn by walking. There are mini-games like slots. The toy can be attached to bags and belts for easy carrying. The page also features images of a person demonstrating how to use the Pocket Pikachu by attaching it to their belt and bag. It also mentions TV commercials for the product and the feeling of encountering Pikachu again. There are icons showing various activities Pikachu can do, like playing alone, showering, brushing teeth, driving a car, riding a tricycle, resting, eating ice cream, and running. It indicates these activities are triggered by actions like playing alone, taking a shower, before bed, good mood, Pikachu is angry, night sleep, snack time, and if you run. The release date is mentioned as March 27th, with a price of 2,500 yen, excluding tax. The copyright information mentions 1995 Nintendo/Creatures Inc., Game Freak Inc., 1998 Nintendo. This page features reader letters in a section called Reader's Letters. One letter is titled Playing Games, from a reader in Tokyo. They talk about buying Yoshi's Story, and discussing it with their brother. They mention aspects like graphics, 3D stick controls, story, and stages without goals. They reflect on whether they are truly enjoying games lately, questioning if they just feel interesting or genuinely exciting, especially after the release of 64DD. Another letter is titled Nintendo, Returning to Basics, from a reader in Hokkaido. They discuss the pocket camera, Pocket Pikachu color, and how fun it is. Even just ordinary photos are enjoyable, and minigames are good. They feel that as a game maker, Nintendo needs to capture people's hearts. The last letter is titled, Nintendo's TVCM, from a reader in Nagasaki. They say Nintendo's TV commercials have become too conventional. They believe Nintendo is trying to change, but they want them to be even bolder and revitalize things more to open up the future of the game world. They express hope for game software levels and advertising. This page features a reader forum expressing appreciation for the N64 forum section in the magazine. It also discusses the issue of used games, highlighting concerns from both shop owners and game manufacturers regarding the impact of used game sales on the market. The page includes reader questionnaires and submissions with anecdotes about their N64 experiences. Games mentioned by readers include Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, Power Pro 64, and possibly GASP. Finally, there is a call for manuscript submissions to the N64 forum section, inviting readers to share their thoughts and feelings about the N64. This page presents reviews for 3 N64 games. The first, Bomberman 64, is praised for its strategic gameplay and exciting multiplayer battles, surpassing even Mario Kart 64 in the reviewer's opinion. The second, Puyo Puyo Sun 64, discusses the Rumble Pack feature. While the reviewer acknowledges the potential for less precise controls due to the rumble, they ultimately enjoy its addition to the experience, though the rumble effect during Ojama Puyo can be unsettling. The final review, Pilot Wings 64, emphasizes the game's immersive experience, allowing players to feel the wind through intuitive gameplay. The next page features reviews of 2 N64 games. The first review is for Denryu Irera Bo, which is described as a challenging game that the reviewer initially found difficult but became addicted to. They mention that they are now playing Final Denryu Irera Bo Returns. The review highlights the game's appeal and addictive nature. The second review is for Snowboard Kids, which they refer to as Nande Mo Ari, meaning anything goes. This game is praised for capturing the fun of snowboarding with over-the-top elements, like throwing bombs and rocks at opponents. It's mentioned that while this wouldn't happen in real snowboarding, it's part of the game's appeal. The reviewer notes the presence of money and shops within the courses, contrasting it with real-world snowboarding. They conclude that Snowboard Kids is an enjoyable game with cute characters that offers deep gameplay and a variety of courses and modes. Finally, there's a section titled Dream Impression Original Manuscript Grand Prize, which is inviting readers to submit their impressions of N64 games, whether new or old, for a chance to win 2,000 yen worth of gift certificates and have their writing published. Submissions should be between 400 and 800 characters and should include details like name, address, age, and phone number. This page showcases the results of a reader survey ranking popular N64 software. The top-ranked game is, unsurprisingly, Mario Kart 64, followed by Star Fox 64 and Super Mario 64. Other highly rated titles include Yoshi's Story, GoldenEye 007, Diddy Kong Racing, and Bomberman 64. The text on the right side acts as a report on these survey findings, indicating that Mario Kart 64 is the expected number 1. It also notes that Star Fox 64's high ranking was a little unexpected. The report highlights a price drop for 5 Nintendo titles starting from March 2nd, encouraging those who don't own them to consider purchasing. It also mentions that the next survey will likely include the recently released 1080 Degrees snowboarding game. Furthermore, it explains the methodology of the ranking survey, which is time-consuming and dedicated, and indicates that the next survey results will be announced in the subsequent issue. The page also briefly touches on Akihabara's electric town market prices, suggesting that software prices are generally decreasing, especially for older titles. Puyo Puyo Sun 64 is recommended as a good value purchase at 2,972 yen. Finally, the bottom right corner mentions the price of the N64 console itself, stating it is around 14,800 yen, similar to the previous month, and some stores are offering clear purple or gold controllers as a bonus. This page is an advertisement for Konami on the Nintendo 64. It proclaims Konami as the strongest third-party developer for the system, highlighting their achievement of releasing 10 titles, matching Nintendo's own output. The advert mentions their popular Power Pro Sports series, as well as new RPG titles and other big releases. suggesting Konami is leading the charge on the N64. The page features a prominent image of a Goemon character. This page uncovers the secrets of Konami Power and how it supports N64 development. It explains that Konami's development departments are divided into separate companies, and highlights that KCE Osaka and Konami Computer Entertainment Kobe are central to creating N64 software. The page features a development map of Konami studios in Japan, specifying their main development platforms. KCE Osaka and KCE Kobe are shown to be focused on Nintendo 64 development. There are also interviews with Kinoshita Kuniaki, the representative director of KCE Osaka, and Nage Katsuya, a managing director at KCE Osaka. Kinoshita discusses his background, including his entry into Konami in 1981, and his passion for cars and collecting things. Nage talks about his background in engineering and his hobbies, including golf and collecting. The page also includes a photograph of the KCE Osaka building and a manga illustration. The next page delves into the secret of the Konami Power, exploring Konami's development prowess for the N64. The page highlights Konami's strong entry into the N64 market, emphasizing that their foundation was built upon titles like J-League Perfect Striker, Mahjong Master, and Jikyo Powerful Pro Baseball 4, although the international versions of these games are less well known outside of Japan. It mentions their impressive release of 10 titles across diverse genres, including sports, action, puzzle, table games, fighting, and even RPGs, showcasing their versatility and ambition. The article further elaborates on the overall Konami Group's secret power, discussing their multifaceted operations beyond just video games, including the Konami Entertainment Club (KEC), and ventures into character goods, publishing, and music CDs. There is also a picture of the Konami Magazine Volume 5 cover, in a section titled, Original Power Pro Development Secrets That Can Be Told Even Now. The page reveals development anecdotes about the Power Pro series, likely Jikyo Powerful Pro Baseball. It appears to be an interview with developers Mr. Nagata and Mr. Juki, discussing the creation of these baseball games, and mentioning the hard work involved even in creating stadium screens, as seen in Jikyo Powerful Pro Baseball 5. Finally, there's a comic panel that seems to be a humorous aside related to the topic, possibly about game development pressures or Konami's culture, but its specific meaning is not entirely clear without full translation. This page highlights Konami's N64 development team structure, showcasing their production system and the different teams involved. It explains that Konami uses team names for development, giving examples of teams like Diamond Head. The page reveals several Konami development teams and their notable games for the N64. The Goemon Production Committee team is responsible for the Ganbare Goemon series, which unfortunately never saw an official release outside of Japan on the N64. Diamond Dust Production worked on Hyper Olympic and Nagano 64, known internationally as Nagano Winter Olympics 98. Diamond Head developed the popular Jikyu Powerful Pro Yakyu 4, the Power Pros baseball series, noting the Game Boy version was handled by KCE Nagoya. Konami XXL created NBA in the Zone 98, highlighting it as Konami's American sports game brand. Major A is credited with J-League Perfect Striker and J-League World Soccer 3, titles in the International Superstar Soccer lineage. Lastly, Team Lingshan Kaihua developed Mahjong Master, another game that remained exclusive to Japan. Konami's development process is revealed to be organized around distinct teams, symbolized by logos like Goemon Production Committee and Diamond Head, seen in their N64 games. Real-life development teams exist, as evidenced by team jackets worn by Konami staff, including the authors of 64Dream Diary. These jackets are used for team building. Konami also utilizes the Konami Academy Award, a prestigious internal award recognizing the best software, held 45 times a year. The top prize, like last year's BMW Z3 Roadster, reflects the value placed on successful game development. The selection involves company-wide voting and executive decision-making. The page also highlights the real-life production of team jackets, further solidifying the organized structure and attention to detail within Konami. A humorous manga strip concludes the article, offering a lighthearted glimpse into office life. This page delves into Konami's N64 plans, starting with a look at the latest Castlevania game, provisionally titled Dracula 3D. The game is causing a stir online, with rumors of a day and night cycle that shifts every 15 minutes and affects Dracula's appearance. Konami staff member Kigi-san, mentions they are aware of overseas interest and are developing it as a 3D action-adventure title. The page also highlights the friendly rivalry between Konami's development studios in Osaka and Kobe. KCE Kobe is developing Dracula 3D. KCE Osaka's titles include games like J-League Perfect Striker, Mahjong Master, the Power Pro Baseball Series, Goemon, World Soccer, Hyper Olympic in Nagano 98, NBA in the Zone 98, GASP, Fighters NEXtreme, Puzzle Dama, Hybrid Heaven, and Rakuga Kids. The magazine questions if Tokimeki Memorial, a popular dating sim, will appear on the N64. Konami staff member Nagasan explains that creating a true Tokimeki Memorial on the N64 is proving difficult, mainly because voice acting is crucial to the series, and the 64DD's storage capacity is a limitation. They haven't started development yet because of these challenges. A screenshot confirms that the original Tokimeki Memorial as it is might be impossible on the N64. Finally, a comic strip shows a humorous internal feedback process for a new project called Kotomi, possibly a manga submission, with staff giving various reactions from positive, good job, to negative, no good, and even censorship concerns. The next page features 2 articles and supporting content. The first article highlights the new RPG, Hybrid Heaven, a title previously shown at E3. The developers express excitement for its upcoming release and describe it as a unique RPG. The second article is an OX question interview with Konami's Mr. Kinoshita, who answers a series of yes/no questions. He shares his positive views on Konami's position, the N64's future, and his preference for Osaka over Tokyo. He playfully answers questions about his taste in women. The page also includes a section discussing the development of a 2-player mode for the upcoming Ganbare Goemon sequel. Finally, a small comic strip depicts a ninja encountering a girl with an X sign. KCE Osaka Graffiti details Konami's N64 development, focusing on KCE Osaka. The article covers a visit to their development rooms and teases future projects. It also mentions President Kinoshita's Zippo lighter collection, a Power Pro baseball, and Tokimeki Memorial wine, hinting at the company's culture. The main interview reveals KCE Osaka is developing Hybrid Heaven and other RPG titles, exploring action RPGs and strategy simulations. Konami will lead N64 RPG development, particularly in sports RPGs, aiming for high-quality games. Finally, a Still Hidden Titles section teases unannounced games, with Gradius-like artwork, suggesting a potential N64 Gradius revival. The article concludes with enthusiastic reactions to the revealed information. This page celebrates Konami's 30th anniversary and their commitment to the N64. It features interviews and promotions related to Konami's N64 titles. An interview with Mizuno Momoko from Konami discusses her role in game development and her thoughts on the N64. She highlights the freedom and potential of the N64 and mentions her love for sweets. The page also includes a section titled, "From now on, expect great things from KCE Osaka/Kobe," where Mr. Osachan expresses his desire to create games that people will say, "Mr. Osachan's games are good." He emphasizes focusing on Konami's strengths in sports and action games, and mentions RPGs as well. He mentions his dream of creating a new genre every year, and dominating all genres in the end, expressing confidence in the N64's potential to achieve this. A Reader Gift Present section promotes a giveaway of a Goen Air Pop and a powerful Pro Baseball 5 telecard to readers. The page showcases the game Rakuga Kids with screenshots, alongside mentions of Hybrid Heaven, GameCube World Soccer 4, and Goemon series, indicating Konami's lineup and focus on the N64 platform. This page is from the N64 question box section, marking its 20th installment and focusing on bringing happiness. It features an interview with Mr. Motoi from Nintendo's Public Relations Department. One question asks about the target shipment numbers for the N64 this year. The answer is, double it, aiming to reach 6 million units from the current 3 million. There's mention of a campaign where buying an N64 includes a controller, and a special purple controller being given away at the LAOX game store in Akihabara. Another question expresses concern that despite good N64 games, public perception and evaluation are low. The response acknowledges this concern, but expresses confidence in the quality of Nintendo software and the fun factor of N64 games. Games like Yoshi, 1080-degree snowboarding, and future RPG action-adventure titles similar to Zelda and FZEROX are mentioned as examples of titles that will broaden the user base and increase enthusiasm for the N64, reinforcing the N64 doubling project. This Q&A focuses on Nintendo 64 and Game Boy strategies. Regarding the N64, Nintendo plans a new advertising campaign, the N64 Doubling Plan, starting in April to showcase upcoming software like F-Zero X, The Legend of Zelda, and Pokémon Stadium. They are also lowering the price of classic N64 games, including Mario 64 and GoldenEye 007, to boost console and software sales, mirroring a successful price reduction campaign in America. For the Game Boy, Nintendo emphasizes its history and the success of Pokémon. They are continuing to develop both hardware and software, aiming to integrate N64 and Nintendo Power elements to improve the handheld experience, with a three-pillar strategy guiding development. Nintendo addresses reader inquiries in this Q&A. Pokémon Gold and Silver's March release was delayed due to director Tajiri's illness, pushing the release back approximately a month. Pocket Pikachu will still release in March, with a Pokémon Yellow version planned for summer, coinciding with a Pokémon movie in July. Mr. Hongao will attend the Tokyo Game Show, where Nintendo will showcase N64 technology for developers and promote games like 1080, though no Zelda content will be featured. Zelda's release, initially slated for late April, is now uncertain. 1080 might be replaced by F-Zero X, and the release schedule is being adjusted. Details on Zelda's release will be clarified after April, with a Golden Week release appearing unlikely. The N64 Q&A section covers several topics. Regarding corporate tie-ins, like those in 1080 snowboarding, the inclusion depends on the game and its target audience. The US version of Pokémon is unlikely to be released in Japan due to translation needs, though an official release is being considered. There are currently no plans for MU distribution events, despite the existence of the necessary machines. Finally, a 64 GB pack is required for two-player battles in Pokémon Stadium, and a dedicated pack is recommended to fully enjoy the game's features. This Nintendo Q&A addresses various topics. Regarding Hey You Pikachu, the game's voice recognition allows even babies to interact with Pikachu, though with confused responses. Mario RPG on N64 is a new RPG, not a direct sequel, featuring new characters and a different visual style compared to Super Mario RPG. The Mario Artist series uses Mario to signal that it's a Nintendo product, drawing from the precedent of Mario Paint. Finally, the Q&A confirms a Legend of Zelda manga by Shotaro Ishinomori, originally serialized in Nintendo Power for A Link to the Past, and later sold in Japan. Other artists created Mario comics for Nintendo Power as well. This Q&A section addresses fan questions about N64 games. A Star Fox 64 sequel is unlikely, as Miyamoto feels complete with the first game. Though new ideas could change this, Rare isn't ready to announce new titles, focusing on Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Quest. Kirby's Dream Land 3 is released on the Super Famicom due to its SA1 chip, incompatible with initial plans. It's already out in America, and releases in Japan on March 27th, the same day as the Super Famicom Jr. Monthly RPGs for the 64DD are possible, allowing for scenario editions like magazines. Games like Zelda, Majora's Mask, and F-Zero X might release on cartridge and later have 64DD disc content, but plans are still under consideration. The page includes artwork from Star Fox 64, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Banjo-Kazooie, and a 64DD disc image. Quote, this Q&A discusses various Nintendo-related topics. The Super Famicom Jr., a cost-reduced version of the Super Famicom, removes some features but maintains controller compatibility. It's available for pre-sale in Japan at Lawson stores. The Pocket Camera has sold exceptionally well, exceeding 300,000 units, despite recent shipping issues. New colors are being considered. Regarding the Game Boy Light, there are no plans for new colors currently, and it's similar to the Pocket. Finally, the possibility of releasing The Legend of Zelda on Nintendo Power was dismissed due to the planned release of the N64's The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, with the Super Famicom's A Link to the Past being recommended to players instead. This page is from the N64 question box section, featuring questions submitted by readers. The first question is from someone in Osaka, asking if Nintendo uniforms are sold separately. The answer clarifies that Nintendo uniforms are not for sale. They are lent to employees and carefully managed by the company. The second question asks if Mr. Motegi, mentioned as Honkehon Posan, is a funny person who tells jokes. The response confirms he is likely humorous, and provides a story about him making a joke related to a microwave when discussing Star Fox 64. The pocket camera and pocket printer are shown in an image in relation to this. The third question, from a reader in Osaka, inquires about interviews with developers other than Miyamoto. The response explains that developer interviews are challenging to arrange, as Nintendo prefers Miyamoto to be the representative for interviews. However, official guidebooks sometimes feature interviews with development staff. It is mentioned that in the past, there were issues with staff's faces being shown too prominently, causing problems related to fairness among developers, and now interviews are generally done with people in management positions, like department heads for N64 software. A photo of developers is shown, and it mentions that the image on the right is art director Imamura from the FZEROX team. At the bottom, there is a call for question submissions to the N64 question box, encouraging readers to send in their Nintendo 64 related questions by fax or mail. This page announces Nintendo's N64 doubling plan provisional to boost the N64 sales. Nintendo felt the momentum of the N64 was slowing down, so they are initiating a campaign. As part of this, they are reducing the price of 5 popular N64 titles to 4,800 yen. These games include Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Pilot Wings 64, and GoldenEye 007. Additionally, there will be a campaign where purchasing an N64 console will get you a special clear purple or gold controller. TV commercials will be a central part of this campaign, featuring not just Nintendo games, but also third-party titles. The page mentions anticipated games like F-Zero X, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and NBA in the Zone 98. There are also hints at unannounced titles, described as hidden treasure games, potentially related to Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon, and a simulation RPG. Looking ahead to the summer, the Pokemon movie release is expected to fuel a Pokemon boom, with a related hidden treasure Pokemon game anticipated to launch then. Finally, the page suggests that if the N64 reaches 6 million units sold by autumn/winter, the 64DD might finally be released. This issue previews the opening of ASOVINI, a character goods shop in Harajuku featuring Mario, Donkey Kong, and Bomberman. An interview with IDSA chairman Douglas Lowenstein discusses the upcoming E3 show in Atlanta, highlighting its large scale with approximately 1,500 titles, while also noting a potential decrease in exhibiting companies and the industry professional-focused entrance fee. Character designer Alexandra Stable of Ubisoft's Tonic Trouble seeks design advice from N64 magazine for his game targeting Japanese audiences. Reader submissions include a suggestion for a Pikachu-shaped mouse and fan art for Mario Kart 64. Finally, news announces the summer release of the Nintendo Color Screen Game Boy, featuring a Super Mobile LCD for color display and long battery life, with a price around 9,000 yen and an initial Pokemon Yellow color scheme. Nintendo news includes a Snowboard Japan 4th event tied to 1080-degree snowboarding, showcasing in-game boards. Pokemon Gold and Silver release is delayed due to quality checks. A contest invites users to design a 1080-degree snowboard for a chance to win a Laymar board. A special edition, Seibu Lion's Game Boy Pocket is available. The article also touches on the accessibility of adult content online in Japan, mentioning Rakuga Kids. Lastly, a giveaway offers 15 copies of the Game Boy game Monster Race via mail-in application. This page is showcasing several interesting pieces of news. Firstly, it highlights a fan-made website dedicated to the game Wonder Project J2, noting that a fan sent in a fax about it, suggesting it's worth checking out for fans of the game. In music news, a CD release for the N64 game Super Robot Spirits is announced, featuring the game's original background music and theme song medleys across 17 tracks. For television, there's a buzz about a commercial for the Pocket Camera, which appears to be Nintendo's, featuring celebrities Kentaro Nishimura and Kane Ishikura, and it seems to be themed around hot springs. An announcement is made for the Tokyo Game Show 98 Spring, stating it will be broadcast online, highlighting the involvement of companies like People World and Fuji TV, promising reports and stage events for both attendees and those watching online. Finally, a survey from March reveals where people buy their game software. Game shops overwhelmingly top the list as the most popular place, followed by toy stores and then convenience stores. The survey gathered responses from 1,000 people based on 1,000 postcards. This page focuses on the upcoming Nintendo 64 fishing game, Nushi-Tsuri 64, which was released internationally as Legend of the River King 64. The article visits the developers, Pack-In-Soft, highlighting the anticipation for a fishing game on the N64. The development environment is described as impressive. The developers mention they are aiming for realistic graphics and have already created 300 types of fish. They're also considering options to make the game enjoyable for children. Screenshots within the article showcase development scenes, actual in-game fishing, maps, and even fish data. Developers Mr. Miyazawa from development and Mr. Saito from public relations are interviewed, discussing the game's progress and aiming for a release in autumn. They are passionate about achieving 3D realism and maximizing content within the N64's memory capacity. The article concludes with excitement for the game's potential and the dedication of the development team. The development staff express that they are making the game with sincerity and passion and have many ideas they want to include, and are aiming for a release around the next month in the magazine's schedule. This issue of MAITSUKI Monthly News previews 4 upcoming N64 titles. Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey offers realistic ice hockey gameplay with Olympic teams and customizable options. 1080 Degrees Snowboarding features diverse snow conditions, Raymar snowboards, and emphasizes the feel of snowboarding. JIKU Powerful Pro Yaku 5, the newest baseball title, boasts enhanced visuals, updated data, and new game modes. Finally, Susume Tyson Puzzle Dama Tukon Marut. Marutamachu is a puzzle game with varied battle modes and simple controls. The page also features a Star Fox comic strip and a Pokemon crossword puzzle. Readers are encouraged to solve the puzzle and submit their own puzzles for the magazine. This page is about the Super Famicom game, Famicom Detective Club Part 2, The Girl Standing Behind, a revamped version of the original Famicom Disk System title. Presented as a masterpiece adventure, this Nintendo Power release isn't just a simple port. It boasts improved graphics and sound while retaining the essence of the original. New features enhance the gameplay, such as the Yellow Command System, which highlights new commands during investigations, a memo screen to keep track of clues, and a story outline feature to help players monitor their progress. The story unfolds in a high school setting where strange events are occurring, centering around a murder mystery and the eerie rumor of a girl standing behind. Players step into the shoes of a young detective to unravel the truth behind Shoko Kojima and the unsettling legends. This page is dedicated to introducing the main characters from the Famicom Detective Club series. It showcases 8 characters with their ages, portraits, and brief descriptions, providing background information for each. The page also highlights 3 games within the series as part of a 10th anniversary celebration of Famicom Detective Club. These are Famicom Detective Club, The Missing Heir, Famicom Detective Club Part 2, The Girl Who Stands Behind, and BS Detective Club, The Vanishing Past in the Snow. Each game has a small description and box art. Finally, the page briefly explains the Famicom Disk System and Satellaview, as these were the platforms that hosted these detective adventure games. It notes that the Disk System was released in 1986, costing 15,000 yen, and allowed game swapping like the Nintendo Power service. Satellaview, launched on April 23, 1995, connected to the SFC to receive data broadcasts, allowing gameplay for a set fee of 18,000 yen for the Satellaview set. This page is a game preview for Kirby's Dream Land 3 on the Super Famicom. It highlights the game as a 2-player experience with a picture book-like visual style and around 30 event scenes. The game is structured with 5 levels, each containing 6 stages, and promises a large map to explore. It introduces the playable characters Kirby for player 1 and Gooey for player 2. The page also showcases helper characters that Kirby and Gooey can team up with: Rick the hamster, Kine the fish, Coo the owl, Nago the cat, Choo Choo the jellyfish, and Pitch the bird. Each helper provides unique abilities, like Rick being good on ice, Kine swimming in strong currents, and Cowl being strong in windy conditions. Finally, it previews 3 minigames within Kirby's Dream Land 3: Thrown Object, Last Eel, and Same Face, How Many, suggesting simple but potentially challenging diversions within the main adventure. The game was set to be released on March 27th with a price of 4,800 yen. This page previews upcoming games for Super Famicom and Game Boy. First up is GameCube Powerful Pro Yakyu 98 for Super Famicom. Slated for release on March 26th, this baseball game is described as revolutionary, featuring a scenario mode, realistic gameplay, and training options for batting, defense, running, and pitching. It's also mentioned that the N64 version will have different elements. Next is Power Pro GB for Game Boy, also releasing on March 26th. This handheld version brings the Power Pro experience to Game Boy, including the popular success mode and the ability to play against friends using a communication cable. Then we have Monster Race for Game Boy, already available from March 6th. In this RPG, players collect and race monsters, aiming to win the prestigious Very Best Cup tournament. The game involves mixing monsters to create new ones and strategic racing elements. Finally, Selection I and II for Game Boy is previewed for a May 1st release. This is a 3D RPG set, which includes 2 games, focusing on the story of the Seal of Darkness. Players will journey to defeat darkness that has befallen the Kingdom of Liquor, led by King Hein. This page is focused on the Super Famicom game, Super Punch-Out! Woo! It presents gameplay tips and character guides for the minor circuit. The page highlights essential techniques for achieving KOs, including normal punches and special techniques. The Operation Method section details the controls using the Super Famicom controller, explaining the use of the directional pad for guarding, ducking, and swaying, and the A, B, and Y buttons for punches. It also features strategies for different boxers in the minor circuit: Gabby J, Bear Hugger, Piston Hurricane, and Bald Bull, providing advice on how to defeat each opponent, including their attack patterns and weaknesses, with screenshots demonstrating gameplay scenarios and tips. This guide provides strategies for defeating boxers in Super Punch-Out. Against Bob Charlie, use move and counter and evade his spinning uppercut by swaying. Dragon Chan requires move and counter timing, duck low kicks, and sway continuous kicks. Masked Muscle's poison mist attack is followed by a sway. Target body blows when he lifts his foot. Mr. Sandman demands body blows due to his defense. Learn his patterns. Use move and counter, and sway 3 times to dodge uppercuts. Alan Ryan needs move and counter, land KO punches, and utilize body blows or L/R buttons to counter his uppercuts after a clinch. Heike Kaguru requires move and counter, continuous left punches, ducking his 2-hit attack and swaying dash punches. Mad Crown needs awareness of feints, ducking after pauses, and swaying to dodge throws. Super Macho Man's exercises involve high/low defenses and counterattacks. Defend high for exercise A, defend low for exercise B, and sway/duck for exercise C. Dodge his super spin punch by ducking. This page is a promotional feature for the Legend of Zelda series, presented by Gintoki. It humorously depicts the long wait for a new Zelda game, with comic strips showing frustrated frog-like creatures and Link. The comics touch upon the anticipation, delays, and the eventual release of the game, even referencing a supposed commercial and an old man telling Zelda stories. The central image is a large portrait of Princess Zelda, announcing a special emergency project for fans eagerly awaiting the next Zelda installment, titled Zelda Road. Below Zelda's image are screenshots from various Zelda titles, chronologically showcasing the series' history with release dates. It starts with the original, The Legend of Zelda, released on Famicom Disk System in 1986, praising its beautiful music and innovative world. Next is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link from 1987, noting its side-scrolling perspective and action focus. Then, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past for Super Famicom in 1991, highlights its magical elements, enhanced graphics, and engaging puzzles. Finally, The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening for Game Boy in 1993 is featured as the latest entry, boasting impressive graphics for the handheld and pointing out its unique setting outside of Hyrule and different heroine compared to the traditional Zelda games. The page emphasizes the evolution and ongoing excitement surrounding the Legend of Zelda series. This page uses a comic strip to humorously depict the anticipation for the new Zelda game on the Nintendo 64. It starts by reflecting on how much can be said about Zelda in just one page. The comic then discusses the Zelda series, referencing the Adventure of Link series, emphasizing that each sequel is unique and eagerly anticipated. There's a playful panel about comparing different game consoles. The characters then express impatience for the new Zelda game, acknowledging Nintendo's development time but feeling the wait is long. They speculate if the next Zelda will be for a Nintendo 128, pondering if it will take another 5 years, referencing the time since the Game Boy Zelda. However, there's a burst of optimism with a character confidently stating Zelda 64 is 100 billion% sure to be playable during Golden Week. The comic shifts to a generational perspective, showing a family from grandparents to baby all wanting Zelda, lamenting the delay. Frustration peaks with a character yelling at Nintendo about postponed release dates, dreaming of Nintendo 256, and joking about getting old waiting for Zelda. Finally, the mood changes with news of Zelda's release date, but comically exaggerated to 10 years later's Christmas for Nintendo 1024. Despite the long wait jokes, the page ends on a positive note, with characters excited to play Zelda and Nintendo 64 during the holidays. This page is a food advertisement titled Bistro de 64, Welcome to Rokuyante, featuring a menu item called Spring Pawapuro Croquette. The page describes the dish as baseball-shaped onigiri and croquettes combined, making it a convenient and stamina-boosting meal perfect for spring and baseball season. It highlights that bistro is French for restaurant. The ad features characters reminiscent of Power Pro baseball games and Mario and Yoshi, connecting it to the N64 gaming context. The text emphasizes that it's a fried dish and advises caution with fire and oil, concluding with, "It's delicious!" The page suggests that baseball is essential for stamina. The next page is a fun recipe page showing you how to make power croquettes, which are baseball-shaped rice croquettes. It's a step-by-step cooking guide with pictures, starting with chopping ingredients like onion, bacon, and parsley. You then fry the bacon, add onion and tomatoes, mix in rice, and season with ketchup. The mixture is formed into balls, coated in breadcrumbs, and then deep-fried until golden brown. The page also mentions a Rokuyan food hall, promoting Doraemon Dorayaki sweets, which are priced at 130 yen each. Lastly, there's a call for readers to submit their own recipe ideas to the magazine. This page features a Pokemon comic strip called Pokemon Paradise. The top panel shows a girl drawing while Pikachu is serving tea, with text mentioning recent busyness and hoping for good sales in the new year. Below that is a scene of a girl talking about cherry blossoms and flower viewing in spring. In the next panel, Pikachu and Bulbasaur are admiring a flower, commenting on its beauty. Then, Jigglypuff is singing with great enthusiasm, declaring herself beautiful, while some drunk Pokemon listen in the background. Pikachu then smells a fragrant flower and wonders what kind it is, with Oddish appearing. Finally, at the bottom, Pikachu is overwhelmed by Rafflesia's scent, becoming paralyzed and deciding to go home. The text describes Rafflesia as causing paralysis, and the reaction of Pikachu wanting to leave. This page is an advertisement for the Pocket Pikachu Tamagotchi-like device, announcing its release on March 27th for 2,500 yen. It highlights different activities Pikachu can do within the device, such as slot games, showering, eating candy, watching TV, sleeping, studying math, eating meals, and playing with building blocks. The page also promotes various Pokemon merchandise lines, such as talking Pokemon figures, Pokemon Club goods, Pokemon Friends figures, Pokemon stamp sets, and a Pokemon Field miniature game. Finally, it features fan-submitted Pokemon illustrations and encourages readers to send in their own drawings. This page is titled, Shout It Out! Mario Parents Corps, and it features illustrations sent in by readers. At the top are baseball-themed drawings of Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Pinocchio. There are speech bubbles and character descriptions for Mario as the team captain, Luigi as the general, Peach as the information officer, and Pinocchio as the troop commander. They are discussing reader submissions and how popular they are, mentioning they received 250 submissions in a month for Mario. Below this is a section titled Illustrations of Special Praises, showcasing various reader-submitted drawings. These include a Kirby Good Dream illustration, a Kirby Sleeping Kirby Volume 5 illustration, a Wild Goose Running Killer drawing, likely referencing a racing game, even though Wild Goose was not an N64 game, a Mario RPG illustration featuring Mario, Mallow, and Yoshi, referencing Super Mario RPG, a Mario 64 picture, presumably inspired by Super Mario 64, a Picture, a Pazuru Dama illustration, showing a girl playing the puzzle game Pazuru Dama, which was not released internationally, a 1080-degree 1080 snowboarding artwork depicting a girl snowboarder, referencing the game 1080 Degrees Snowboarding. Each illustration has the artist's name and prefecture listed underneath, such as Gifu Prefecture /Kazino Reito, Ibaraki Prefecture /Shibata Junichi, Fukuoka Prefecture / Kurosawa Wakako, Tokyo / Milasan, Nara Prefecture / Yamamura Ayase, Osaka Prefecture / Okami Akira, Osaka Prefecture / Miyuki's Mother, Okayama Prefecture / Maame Wido. This page is a showcase of fan art illustrations sent in by readers, with a focus on Nintendo characters. One section features art inspired by The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, including a stylized Zelda logo, a portrait of Princess Zelda, and Zelda at the beach. There's also fan art for Super Mario 64, including a drawing of Bowser / Koopa with a design sketch, and Mario and Luigi with Yoshi. Another illustration labeled Japanese Traditional Beauty shows characters in a style reminiscent of classic Japanese art, possibly hinting at games with Japanese themes. And the word Smash is visible, maybe referring to the Super Smash Bros. Series, which was upcoming at the time. There's also a drawing of Princess Peach, depicted in a more realistic style. The illustration fan letter section has more fan submissions, including a letter with an Earthbound, Mother 2, drawing, and mentions of Yoshi and a character named Pipupi, alongside Pokemon characters such as Pikachu. Finally, the Illustrations Under 10 Years Old section displays drawings from younger fans featuring Pokemon like Pikachu, Squirtle, Butterfree, and Diglett, as well as Bomberman. This page showcases fan art illustrations related to various Nintendo 64 games submitted by readers. There is fan art featuring Pokemon with a character holding a Pokeball, and the text mentions drawing Booster. Another Pokemon illustration depicts a girl surrounded by Pokemon characters, described as a monster illustration. A drawing of Link from The Legend of Zelda is also shown, noting it gives a third-generation feel. There's an illustration of a dog character named Pyo, and a fan creation of a girl with a dragon, inspired by Monster Hunter. Mario and Yoshi are featured in another drawing, along with a unique character possibly from F-Zero X, where the artist mentions character design. More Zelda art includes a detailed Link illustration from Legend of Zelda, and another Link drawing referencing 64Dream magazine. A Pokemon Gold Duck, or Golduck, is depicted as a Pokemon breeder concept. There is artwork for Power Pros 5, PAWAPURO 5, showing a baseball player. Finally, there are more general character designs, one of a boy with a dog labeled Monster, and a caricature of Dennis Rodman related to NBA in the Zone. This page showcases fan-submitted content in a humorous style. The Kirateru Katachi section features funny illustrations of Porygon, Link, a muscular creature, Mario, and Magneton, each with comical captions. The 4 Koma no Nagaya presents a 4-panel manga featuring Star Fox characters, Fox and Falco, in a light-hearted exchange. Moving down, the Hamidashi Keibutai section displays fan-created art, including Navi from Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Princess Peach calling for help, Mario saying, "Hilo," and Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day sporting sunglasses. Another 4-panel manga section, 4 Koma Ikiju, depicts Ash from Pokemon and a Magikarp in a funny situation. Hamidashi Okorogasha section shows Link with Navi in a fairy-catching scene and a Detective Conan-esque character. The page also lists names and titles of contributors categorized as Upper-Class Soldier Encouragement Candidates, Gunpei Rank Promotion Candidates, Upper Soldier Rank Promotion Candidates, First-Class Soldier Rank, and Second-Class Soldier Rank, Regular Member Rank Promotion, and Associate Member Entry Corps, which seem to be related to some kind of ranking system for submissions. Finally, there's an Illust Boshu, or illustration recruitment section calling for character art, and 4-panel manga submissions, and details on how to submit. The next page is all about unlocking hidden content in 1080 Degrees Snowboarding. It's titled Dream Techniques Palace, and focuses on hidden borders and hidden boards. It details how to unlock special characters and snowboards within the game. For the penguin border, you need to complete trick list numbers 1 through 24 in training mode, and then press C down and A on the board selection screen. To get the crystal border, clear the expert match race, and on the character selection screen, at Hayami Akari, press cleft, and then A. The metal border is unlocked by using the crystal border, clearing the expert match race again, and at Kita Shotaro, pressing cup, and then A. Finally, the Panda Head border requires you to beat all initial stage records in time or points, and then at Dion Blaster, press C right, and then A. The screenshots show in-game action with these special characters and boards, along with menu screens detailing the button inputs needed to unlock them. It highlights these cool, hidden features as a way to impress your friends. This page is all about Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, highlighting Dream Team and player trade features and giant player, tiny player options. It explains how to unlock Dream Teams and trade players within the game. The page also details how to activate special modes that change player sizes, like making players giant or tiny, and modifying body and head sizes using button combinations and special option settings. The article emphasizes that you can create various combinations for fun gameplay. Screenshots show in-game menus and gameplay action. This page provides tips for several Nintendo 64 games. In Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, it covers rope-based moves like dashes, hammer throws, and grapple move cancellations. Snowboard Kid's secret code unlocks all characters and stages by inputting a specific sequence on the title screen. 1080 degrees. Snowboarding tips include camera control in the demo and creating scratch sounds during replays. Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey secrets reveal how to access a fighting mode through a button sequence in the options, and how to display advertising billboards by pressing the Z trigger in the setup menu. This page reveals dream techniques for Nintendo 64 games. In Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, a two-player practice mode is activated with simultaneous A button presses. World Soccer 3 unlocks Dino Zoff by entering Zo as a last name. Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 allows camera manipulation on the wrestler selection screen. New Japan Pro Wrestling Fighting Road lets you change wrestler costumes with the C, L, R, or Z triggers. Top Gear Rally has a cheat to finish first without racing. In Diddy Kong Racing's Yukai Canyon, the dinosaur chases you when slowed down. The page also solicits Dream Technique submissions for 64Dream magazine, with reader tips including how to unlock a superboard antenna in 1080 degrees snowboarding and how to make the panda bouncy in Panda Body Border. This page previews upcoming Nintendo 64 software, highlighting several anticipated titles. RPGs like the 64DD exclusives Mother 3 Feet and Super Mario RPG 2 Feet, the Imagineer-developed El Teal, and Konami's mysterious Hybrid Heaven are mentioned. Action games include The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, delayed for quality, and Banjo-Kazooie, both with expected releases. Ultra Donkey Kong, a sequel to the Super Famicom's Super Donkey Kong, and Rare's Conker's Quest are also showcased, alongside the evolving development of Kirby 64. The page includes an icon guide to game genres, classifying titles such as RPG, ACT, PUZ, and others. This article previews several upcoming N64 games. Super Mario 64 2, tentative title, for the 64DD promises expanded content and features Luigi. The Kumaju Dracula 3D, Castlevania 3D, by Konami boasts beautiful graphics, while Bomberman Hero, Saving Million Princess from Hudson, released in April 1998, features Bomberman transformations and a challenging final boss. B-Damon 64, also by Hudson, is based on a manga, offering shooting competitions and battles. Tonic Trouble by Ubisoft stars an alien on Earth. Last Legion UX by Hudson has been revised, and its release is uncertain. GASP Fighters NEX Extreme from Konami allows players to create and train custom characters. Rakuga Kids from Konami features unique characters and fighting styles. Super Robot Spirits from Banpresto features super robot battles. Fighting Cup, Fighter's Destiny from Imagineer is already released in America, and a Japanese release is anticipated. Space Dynamites from Vic Tokai offers a devastating combo mechanic. Lastly, Jungle Emperor, an adventure game by Nintendo, is speculated to be a 64DD title, offering significant potential. Several Nintendo 64 games are highlighted, with various developers and release dates. Hudson's adventure game, Kindaichi Case Files, hints at a summer or later release with 64DD elements. Nintendo's SimCity 64 is planned for summer 1998, allowing players to experience their cities from within and incorporate Mario artist data. Another Nintendo title, Cabbage, is a 64DD-enabled nurturing sim. Simcopter 64 from Maxis lets players fly helicopters in SimCity 64, flight simulator-styled Macross. Another Dimension from Tommy has an uncertain release. Run! My Horse, a horse racing game, is set for June 1998. Flight Simulator from Video System, a detailed flight sim, is also due in 1998. Please Monster is progressing well with reader involvement. BioTetris, a Tetris variant, had a planned March 1998 release. Go Forth! Taisen Pazudama Fighting Spirit, Marutama Town, a puzzle game, was released March 26, 1998. Ninja Boy Rantaro Challenge Puzzle 64, a picture-matching puzzle, is slated for late April. Body Harvest, involving alien time travel, has no set release date. This page previews upcoming N64 titles. Kemco has Blade and Barrel, a shooting game with helicopter and tank options, and Knife Edge, an action helicopter game. Konami's JIKU Powerful Pro Yaku 5, a baseball game with a success mode, and J-League Perfect Striker 2, a soccer game, are also highlighted. Imagineer presents baseball title Chao Kukan Night Pro Yaku King 2, and Snowspeeder, a snow sports game. Culture Brain's Ultra Baseball Jitsumeiban 64 features an Ultra mode. King Hill 64 Extreme Snowboarding, from Kemco, emphasizes story-rich gameplay. Nintendo is entering the basketball market with NBA Basketball and is working on a golf game, using motion calculations. Hudson's Let's Smash, a tennis game with a costume change mode, and Humans Airboarder 64, a futuristic sports game with airboards, round out the preview. The preview highlights several upcoming N64 games. Adventure game, Kirato Kaiketsu, 64 Tantaidan, and shogi title Morita Shogi, 64 inches are coming in spring and April 98. Other titles include Mahjong game Pro Shogi Sinin Hyo, June 98. Resort Management Sim, Bakusho Jinsei 64 inches, Autumn 98. Racing games are prominent, featuring F-Zero-X, June 98. Super Speed Race 64 inches, May 98. Koro Q64, July 98. Rev Limit, Summer 98. Race Game, Carry, sometime in 98. Kiabari Battle 3000, and Extreme G, Summer 98. Finally, Jisen Pachislo Hishuhao is a Pachislo simulator with no set release. Upcoming N64 games include a variety of titles. Pachinko 365 Days simulates pachinko gameplay. Mario Artist will have multiple iterations, including Picture Maker, Polygon Maker, and Talent Maker, offering 3D/2D art and character creation features. Pokemon Stadium offers 3D Pokemon battles, while Pokemon Snap focuses on photographing Pokemon. Pikachu Genki Daichu uses a microphone for interaction with Pikachu. Kyojin no Doshin lets players reshape landscapes as a giant. Dubutsu Banchao is a unique animal integration game. Nushitsuri 64 is a fishing game. And Dezaimon 3D is a shooting game creation tool. This page is an announcement from the Computer Entertainment Software Association. It is asking players to stop buying and selling used game software. The page argues that the used game market reduces the funds for game developers, which could lead to a future of only boring games. It emphasizes that buying new games supports the creation of better and more exciting titles. Furthermore, the page highlights the legal aspect, stating that reselling game software without the manufacturer's permission is a copyright infringement, similar to movie piracy, and concludes by saying that digital game software should always be considered new. The page prominently features a no resale mark with a hand symbol to visually communicate its message. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy game Pocket Kyoro-chan, described as a super lovely love and communication adventure game. The page highlights the game's concept of interacting with various characters, including Katsuran doll and Takechi doll, to build love relationships. Screenshots showcase in-game locations like Kyoro-chan's house, gardening scenes, and a jet coaster minigame. The game is set to release on February 27th with a price of 3,980 yen. Characters such as Kokekyo and Take-chan doll are also pictured. This page is an advertisement for two PC games focused on mind training. The first is Morita Shogi Minigame Collection for Windows, featuring 4 thinking games including Shogi, Reversi, Crystal Ball, and a color game. It is described as good for strategic thinking with player versus player modes. The second game is Death and Life Encyclopedia 2 Windows version, a Go training software supervised by Cho Chi-hoon, with around 2,900 problems, offering different modes like Trial Mode and Learning Mode to improve skills. Both games are compatible with Windows 3.1 and Windows 95. This page showcases advertisements for 2 book series, Konami Parody Comic Series and Game Fan Book Series. The Konami parody comic series highlights Tokimeki Memorial, described as the first comic anthology for the popular dating sim game. It features works from 15 manga artists. The Game Fan Book Series advertises guidebooks for various games, including the Conveni 2, National Chain Expansion Guidebook for PlayStation, and several guidebooks for Sega Saturn games. Farland Saga, Blue Breaker Smile More Than a Blade, Tilt Girl from the Blue Sea, and Steve Schraub Sliders. This page is a Reader's Prize giveaway. Prizes include a Nintendo 64 console for one person, and 5 sets of Nintendo 64 controllers. There are game prizes for Nintendo 64, including 2 copies of GameCube Powerful Pro, Yaku 5, which is Power Pros 5 in English, 3 copies of the fighting game Deadly Arts, also known as GASP Fighters NEXtreme, and 2 copies of Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey. Other prizes are NWO Wrestling t-shirts and caps, a New Japan Pro Wrestling telephone card, signed autographs from singers Ichiro Mizuki and Hironobu Kageyama, signed CDs from Mazinger and Super Robot Wars, and Game Boy games like Castlevania Legends, known as Akumajo Dracula Shikoku, Taruzen Tsukioku, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, also known as Gambare Goemon Kurofune Tono Nazo, and Pocket Kyoro-chans. The page details how to enter the giveaway with an application deadline and winner announcement date. This Japanese magazine reader survey, related to the Nintendo 64, gathers opinions on the current issue's content, asking readers to rate articles and select favorites. It also solicits ideas for N64 adaptations of manga and anime, and asks N64 owners about their console purchase date. Readers are also asked about interesting non-N64 games and upcoming N64 titles from a provided list. The included game list features a diverse range, including well-known titles like Castlevania 64, Donkey Kong 64, and Asterisk, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, alongside numerous Japanese exclusive games and potential sequels to popular series. The reader's viewpoint shares a nostalgic story about the joys of Mario games and the desire for future family-friendly titles. Finally, the survey announces prize draw winners. This page is the contents index for the magazine. It lists various articles and game features with their corresponding page numbers. Featured N64 games include Airborder 64, Extreme G, F-Zero X, Okai Mono Monster, GameCube Powerful Pro Yaku 5, GameCube Powerful Pro Yaku Basic Version 98, Super Speed Race 64, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Super Punch-Out!, Super Robot Spirits, Space Dynamite, Susumu, Tyson Puzzle Dama, Toucan Fighting Dama, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Selection I and II Selection, Sonic Wings Assault, Digimon 3D, Shoro Q64, Power Pro GB, 1080 Snowboarding, Bomberman Hero, Bakushu Jinsei 64, Mezaise, Resort OU, and Banjo-Kazooie no Daibuken, Banjo-Kazooie. Also mentioned are Super Famicom and Game Boy titles. There is a small comic strip at the top with Mario and Luigi in a baseball setting. The bottom part of the page includes publishing and contact details. This page is an advertisement for the Nintendo 64 game Snowboard Kids. It highlights the game as an action sports racing game for 1 to 4 players. The advertisement mentions features like item purchases, trick actions like rotations and grabs, and the use of 3 types of boards. It also mentions that up to 4 players can participate, and that colliding with obstacles will cause a rumble using the Rumble Pack. The advertisement also lists the suggested retail price of 6,800 yen, excluding tax. Screenshots show in-game racing action on snowy courses and menus within the game. Like the board shop, the characters are depicted in a cartoonish style, snowboarding through snowy landscapes. The text, "Ah!" translates to, "Use every trick in the book to blow away your rivals." This page is an advertisement for Nintendo Power for Super Famicom, promoting new and classic games. The advert features the game Famicom Part 2, Ushiro Nitatsu Shoujo, The Girl Standing Behind You, a horror title where you hear a voice calling you from behind while walking home from school, and a lonely girl is standing behind you. The page also mentions an SF memory cassette set available for 3,980 yen, which allows game rewriting. There is also a section about Fear, again, in relation to FC Disk System games. Additionally, the page features sections on Zelda's Legend Secrets, FZEROX, and a Konami fair.